Hi. Dude, I fucking love Lappy. To that. Okay. I want mochi, please. I want the song again. Sorry. Okay. Hi. Hello. Welcome. Excuse you, Mochi. Can I help you? Let's see. Our level of water today is Fox. Wow. And I did take my vitamins. Do not worry. Thank you. Hi, Kai. Hi, Goomer. Hi, Nova. Hold on. I'm in dark mode. Hold on. I gotta put it in light mode. Don't pin that comment. I want light mode. Anyways. Hi, Fox. Let's see. Hi, Doc. Let's see. Let's grow. What? My toys. What the hell are you talking about? Josh! Hey, Josh, how are you doing? Hi, Junior. How is lunch? What you eating today? Hello, my little voices. Hello. Oh, okay. Mochi just literally put her paw on my paw. Mochi, I just closed the window. Hello. I just closed the window. You can see her tail. I just closed that, ma'am. I don't want to stand back up. Can I send you a photo of a cross stitch I did? Well, yes, you can. Don't do that. That's my GG subs. You're gonna knock it over. Numbers slowly go up. It's 7. It's been a week. You've been here for a week straight. I need to fix my hair because it's not bad, but with headphones, it just like slick back. Sorry, my hair is a mess today because I need to do my hair later so that I don't have to do it tomorrow in the morning in the AMs. Mochi is life. Oh, okay. Here, you know what? You I'll just make you space, man. Don't worry. Okay. She decided not to. She was gonna lay down right there. I don't know what this hairdo is called. I think we should have just left that up. We're gonna ignore that I did that. Anyways, how is everybody today? Ooh. Just tiny. Oh my god, it's a mouse. Ooh, that's a really pretty cross stitch. I really like that. I like that it's like the full image. Chunky fit? Yes, it is. I'm in severe pain today, so we get our comfy fit. The comfy fit that I still have not altered. Would I alter the size of it? Yes and no. I don't want to debunk chunkyfy it. But I have a short torso, so I really need to shorten these because these do not work. What made you turn on the camera? For some reason my brain went gingerbread man. Gingerbread man. I concur. I can't argue with your point. Let me not have the songs. You can see how bad my hair is today. It's not the worst. I just didn't want to put more things in it. More, not even chemicals. Not chunky. Chucky. Oh, Chucky. Hey. I still categorize as the chunky in a sense that is the baggy. That's what my brain registered it is. I said not mean though. I didn't even mean it in a bad way. I can't read right now. I am in fact not okay today anyways. I didn't even take it that way. I meant it actually as in like this is like my baggy comfy fit. Like literally. I didn't even take that in like the mean way. But still it is. This is too, I think because you guys can't see it, but there's too much floral on this to be Chucky. But you're right. If I had the right striped shirt, I could. Dirty? I don't know. Also, sorry, we're gonna be iPad kids again. I have my little puzzle game here to keep me focused. Not really, it keeps me defocused. I don't know, I just have to keep on checking. I go to Disneyland tomorrow, though. And I go to Disneyland tomorrow. Oh no, Shayla, why are you having a rough day? Oh. Good luck. You got this. You got this one little kitty at a time. He wasn't saying anything genuinely, I don't think I could take anything Doc said negatively. Even if he panics and it's just like, no, I didn't mean that like that. No. I would never. I would never. Food, sausage, and potatoes, that sounds so good. I had leftover chorizo this morning, which is going to make my tummy slightly upset because it was soy and pork. But However, I think the severity of Shark Week and having cramps is going to overtake any sort of tummy ache I will ever have. I did take medicine. Hi, quiet. Oh, I'm gonna drink coffee. Did you see Shaylin has to bathe the two cats? I don't know how. Shaylin, how do the cats react? Because I don't know if you've ever bathed the little mans. Your little sweet baby girl. I don't know if if she's been bathed in her lifespan. Because you've had her for quite some time. Oh my god, Kai, I didn't send you the pictures. When I went shopping on Friday, let me see. Copy image. I could just forward it. I never do that. I just copy image. I sent, okay, fuck it. Okay, we're gonna forward that message. I sent Quiet a picture because I went to our local card shop because there was a new location for it. And of course, you know what they had? Warhammer. A shit ton of Warhammer. So you know what I also did, Kai? I'm gonna message that to you, Kai. Okay, I had to type that one in there. Hi, Anton. How are you? Hi, Turnip. I know, Turnip. The notifications are really fucking weird. What's a Warhammer? Honestly, Turnip, I have no fucking clue. I have no fucking clue. I'm not I'm not even the one to tell you what Warhammer is. Anyways, it was all the sets and like I wonder how much they are here. I should see how much the Warhammer stuff is here. Fuck. Okay. So I clicked a color and I clicked too many of them. So I was upsetty. I fucked up essentially. My mom bathing my dogs are cooperative, and I say cooperative with a loosely term because they for sure are not, but you know they don't try to clout your ass. Get a third party. Oh, get a third. Yeah, fair. I'm just curious. Truth be told, I think the shop actually would be genuinely so expensive, both to Kai and Quiet, mainly because I bought. Oh, I may have treated myself after spending so much money on Christmas gifts. I did a big haul, and by that, some things are just so expensive. So America, what about America? Gotta buy Warhammer at some point. I highly recommend. I don't think it's on sale, but Dark Tide was on sale. It's a very interesting little game. There, yes, turn up. What else? Oh my god, I'm in severe pain. All my dogs have always stayed in the tub when we made them. Yeah, my dogs never misbehaved. It was just the misbehave. Did you get the mail? I'm not the one who goes to check it. So it might be their turnip. I don't think we go till later in the week to go check the mail, truth be told. Being said, humans are the best, and if you deny it, burn a hole. Oh. I agree, dog. I agree with the severity of that. Buy you Warhammer? Like, for real, for real? We should all play Warhammer Space Marine 2. Did your mom? My mom don't go check that. It's my other family that goes check it. How much it cost? True, I agree, Kai. Did you check your... You don't check... It's the family's paw box. It's in one city and I'm in the next city over. And I just genuinely don't go that way. I don't really head over there, but my dad usually goes. I think just about every day, because he goes to go visit my grandma in her little housing. She has dementia. So fucking funny. Oh my god, the old people at that place with dementia are so fucking funny. Genuinely, they do try to escape, and it is so funny. It's like the cute funny where it's like, you can't fool any of us here. Well, my plan is to glitter bomb Sarah. Is not going as planned. Well, I open my mail. Steve, do not worry. I open my mail. I just don't go retrieve it sometimes. Just sending it to your house, but knowing my luck, to throw everything over the wall and break stuff. Fair. And I don't like people sending stuff to my house. I don't let people know my address. But also, no, the PO box is perfectly fine. I just don't go check it. We do check it weekly unless we're all really busy. Would never? No, doing it. Genuinely, no. A totally normal package coming away. Totally normal. Anyways, to my other card nerds, I bought One Piece cards. And I somewhat sleeved them. These are just the sleeves that we had. I was like, yeah, but because these cards are nice. Dude, these like the Mochi. Stop it. That's Chozo. It's my chorizo. You can't have him. Cards? Yeah, I bought One Piece cards. This stack looks humongous, and I think it's just because I put them in these little sleeves. So yeah. My cats are having a bath fight. They're both trying to lick each other's face. Oh, that's so cute. I love your little kitty, Shaylin. I miss them. But yeah, I bought cards. I did, in fact, get my boy Sanji. It's just like a normal rare card. So he's a little holographic in there, and I love him. Be blinded by the light of shiny plastic. But I love him. I got a Nami one, but it was baby Nami. I did get this one. Okay. For those who like villains, I got Mr. Flamingo, and he's fucking cool as hell. Be blinded by shiny plastic again. I did also get Luffy, but I don't really care about Luffy. Chopper's in it, though. He's quite cute. If you were able to pull a tiny screen of your... That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Do 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 do. I could probably do that if I find the cords to connect my iPad. It's a simple cord, but I just never want to do it. I also don't have enough USB ports, so much that I can't use my Arctic Buds if I have these plugged in. So there's that. Yeah, Chopper's in it. Let me not blind you by it, but you can see Chopper. And then I blind you. Shine, shine, shine. Chopper is really cute. I got Miss Puddin too. I forget. I did get, it's one of the leader cards, so I don't know too much what it means. It's for the actual game and whatnot, but I got Zoro. He's a normal little card. He's cool though. And then I got a Dawn card. It's very funny though. It's just a giant man. But I love it. I do want to pull more. To my note of that place probably would be really expensive. There is a... these were just booster packs. Some of them were $6. Some of them were $13. $13 is actually kind of what I expected it to be. So I think I bought 4. 2 cheap ones and then 2 a little bit more expensive. Making me cry. Did he buy you Warhammer? I just hit my microphone. What did he do? Can you come and see them anytime? I'm making a big pot. Fuck. I'm gonna show up one of these random... I'm gonna schedule stalk you, Shaylin, and figure out when you don't work, and then I'm just gonna show up and be like, hi. Fuck, I love spaghetti. I cannot because I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow, so I need to be on Discord tonight for our watch party. Because we're watching Aristocrats. I'm gonna put... I don't know where to put this now because where I had this stack is now where Mochi is. But there was a booster card set. I think it was... I forget what it was. It was the white ones. Truth be told, I could barely read what each booster set said on it because I did not have my glasses and it was up on the wall and then it was shiny because it was behind plastic and I was like, I cannot fucking read these for the life of me. I cannot fucking read these. And I looked like a fucking idiot trying to figure out what I want because then I was also shopping for my brother. I was like, should I buy him Magic set? Because they had the Magic Final Fantasy sets there. And I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. But then they also had the Star Wars cards that recently came out and those are kind of cool. But then they also had Pokemon and it's just general Pokemon good. I did get him Pokemon. But the booster set for one of the, whatever the white booster pack was $30. I'm like, that seems illegal. That doesn't seem right. For Thursday, I'm very excited for Thursday. I will keep everybody updated for jury duty. You know, the usual. Because I genuinely don't know what's happening with that. It's like Christmas holiday, so yeah. For one, that's what I said, Coco. Like, I didn't, like, make too big of a fuss of it because I didn't know which ones I wanted, so I genuinely didn't care if I put that one back. But he was like, just let you know, these go for, like, 30 a pop. I was like, what the fuck do you mean 30? Also, he did not do small talk. He did small talk, but he didn't do small talk because I was like, oh, yeah, I'd rather do, like, more of this than that since I'm just starting. But he, like, I don't know. He was very nice. He reminded me of somebody else. I don't know who. But I'm just like, okay, maybe I never come back here again. Maybe I never come back here again. Our offer was gonna be stay with me tonight, and then you could drive to Disney tomorrow. Would be nice and short. I would say that, Shaylin, but they all want to drive together, and we're watching Aristocrats tonight, and we're getting there super early, and I have to get them parking. There's the list. Otherwise, I would because I want to see the babies. It just hit me. Do you get text about jury duty? You don't have to go. Oh no, I check online. I don't get texts. I don't know if you can do that. That'd be quite cool. No, I just check online. I just check my online summons. It's Resident Evil, Coco, I swear to God. And everybody's been saying it now on both Twitter and TikTok that that's fucking Sherry. I'm like, that's fucking Sherry Birkins. I swear to God. I'm not over that. I cry my eyes out on Thursday while you get. Oh, yes, you will be. Yes, you will be. Quiet. Don't lie. You don't have to go down there. Well, yes and no. I check online to see if I have to go in for the day. If I get summoned, then I go in and sit and wait to see if I actually get put into something. It's like the stepping stones. Right now, I'm on the, like, am I go? And then the next is, okay, now go, now I wait in queue. Sorry, I locked into playing my little puzzle game again. Don't watch trailers, can't get my hopes up if I don't watch them. That's fair. I do recommend this third trailer for Resident Evil Requiem, and I only say that because I feel like it's the actual, like, normal base trailer. Because you get Leon now. And I think someone is right. They did not release a collector's edition because the collector's edition statue would have been Leon, which is very upsetting because I actually would have really liked it to be Grace, but I think they would do Leon for it. Leon! But by that, we don't have a collector's edition. So now I have to watch like a fucking hawk to see if they release a collector's edition. But either way, they're taking my money eventually soon because I want those collector 30th celebration packs. But I don't want the Switch 2 version. They have other versions, but I can't find them. The Switch 2 is the only one that's on pre-order. So I'm a little confusion by that. I might have to look into that. Or beg somebody to look into it, and then I find out the information. I love Leon. I get a letter in the mail saying show up at this day, and I gotta show up and waste the whole fucking day. I mean, that's what I have, but then you can check it online because sometimes, like today was my actual summons date, but I'm on standby, so I don't have to come in yet. So I just wait and see what happens. I check again later to see if I go in tomorrow, and then if it happens again, then I do the same thing. I gotta finish Resident Evil 4 remake, and then yeah, you do. I feel like, because obviously this takes place after everything. It's so insane. Oh my God. I need to get back into acting. I say get back. There's nothing happening right now. But I am beating myself up about it. Why? I don't know. Just, you know, add the pizzazz to your life. Beat yourself up. Fuck the what? Okay, Sabrina Carpenter. Okay. You don't show up to the courthouse on that day where I am? You get bench warrant? Interesting. That's also interesting because if I get summoned for tomorrow, I can't go because I'm going to be out of town. And then I just get another summons date of like, hey, so you have to be here on this day now. Now you have to show up. That's crazy. It's only after you don't show up after the second, like, mandatory one here that then you get in big trouble. That's crazy. What happens if you're, like, out of the country when, like, it happens? Because I'm sure that happens to a lot of people. Especially holiday season. We are still playing the puzzle game. Never responded to my juries. I just threw them. What do you mean you just throw them away? That's crazy. I barely get mine. But, like, I always go to them. Oh, my God. People show up with dogless? I bet, too. That's crazy, Shaylin. How have you never gotten in trouble? Have you just gotten lucky where each one of your summons just has been excused, like in a sense of like, oh, we didn't need you, you're good. I need lotion. My hands really hurt. Still never got one? That's fair. Oh, I do need to message my wife. There was a new Takiyan song. I need to actually add it. We're looking for the pink squares. But now the purple. I don't have to work and they pay me. I honestly, my luck, I would get in trouble at work. Oh my god, Shaylin, we had so much shit happen yesterday. Wasn't bad. Nothing bad happened, but like, my little bugs had a rough time yesterday. The little buggy boys had a rough time yesterday. And I am a little worried about one of them. The other one, I just hope he slipped. That's it. That's all I hope for him. Hey, Kev. I can call and explain to them that I either have something important, and if they feel good. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, I have 3 versions of this. Why did I have a Google? Up. Bing, bang, bang, bang. It's exactly how it sounds. I'm so happy they won. People are so mad about Expedition 33, like, sweeping the games. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it was a really good game and it did a really good job. So, that's it. We have jury duty days. At work, you would get in trouble? You're right. I don't know. I don't trust them right now. I somehow would still get in trouble. You mean spiders? Yes, I do mean the spiders. I could go into the other room now. I am twained. Sorry, Muchie. But I don't work those times. But yeah, it was the little spidey boys. My little spiders. Except I love spiders, but I hate spiders. The spiders that welcomed me home during Thanksgiving week, I'm sorry, they died. But also, I'm sorry, you scared the shit out of me and you were far too large to be in my house. Didn't win enough awards? I wanted to get the most anticipated. The most anticipated would have been fucking funny. I am sad who won the best multiplayer. I really wanted Peak to win. I won't lie. Because Ark had barely been out. And it was good. Ark is good. I do really love Ark. But I feel like more people don't play that as multiplayer and just kill people. And loot. Which the looting part, fair. Me too. But I wanted Peak to win. I wanted it to get all the awards. See, I don't know. People complain about it. And, like, I do get it. Because then it is so sad because there were some other really good games. I'm drinking my coffee. Thank you, quiet. Like, wasn't it? It was Hades, Hades 2 that won one of the awards. I forget which one it was. But I was super happy for them. But, like, genuinely, it was just a really fucking good game. And you know that happens every once in a while where, like, same with Baldur's Gate 3, like, it just literally hits all the marks. Think it was action? I think so, too. That sounds about right. I was so happy for them, because I was really hoping Hades 2 would just win something. Just, like, anything. I hoped that Silent Hill had won something. I still feel like Silent Hill got gypped of Best Sound Design when Silent Hill 2 came out, because that was fucking amazing sound design of the, like, especially the little whispers you hear every once in a while of your wife was amazing. Like, that was so fucking weird and so eerie. Anyways, what did Shaylin say? The bugs? You know what? I was so confused when you said the bugs and you talked about 2 little guys. Imagine I was talking about the other bugs and it's like, yeah, so these 2 little guys. Like, how the fuck 2 little guys? What the fuck do you mean 2 little guys? That's a man and a woman. Nah, my little spideys. My little spidey bugs. I really do wish Peak won. Mainly because I think Arc Raiders wasn't out long enough, but it was still really good. Also, since it's AI in there somehow, I'm like, eh. There were very deserving ones. Yes, I agree. How could this game win? Every single person who played it, loved it. How could it win? Yeah. It's just so funny because I think it happened exactly with Baldur's Gate 3 too. Because nobody was hating on Expedition 33 and was praising it for so long, and then the second they won so many awards, people have been hating on it now. I'm like, why? The only thing I'd give Silent Hill F is sound design. No, yeah, I can concur. I thought it was a letdown, but the sound design was very good. Yeah, with the Silent Hill games, every time they come out, I've really wanted them to win sound design because I feel like their sound design has been very good. Though I will say, I am happy with who won Best Performance, but I did also wish that, I forgot her name, but the girlie from Silent Hill F, I did kind of wish she won too. Because she went through a lot of traumatic shit, bro. And like that, like she portrayed it very good. Peak looks so cute. Yeah, that's my receipt. Can I have that? Okay, no, that's yours. Sorry, it's your Target receipt. Let me scoot it towards you. There you go. Silent Hill 2 remake didn't have whispers. You're right? Like that straight up isn't in the game. It wasn't the whisper. No, there is a noise that is your wife. I can show you. I can't show you. It's in the old VODs because I was tweaking out about it when I was playing it. It's just like a breath. There's a weird breath. There isn't. You're just gonna gaslight me? You gonna gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss me? Feels odd this year because a lot of bangers outside of E3 came out closer to the end of the year. It didn't have a good amount of time. Yeah, I can agree with that, Coco. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. You're just making me sound like I'm insane. And I hate when that happens. Like, even as a, like, Mochi, your little tail is going to knock everything over. I'm gonna block it. Oh my god. Clicking things on my screen. I hate when things come out so late in the year, and it happened, oh my god, like with Arcane, for, I forget what award. Is it Oscars? I forget. But either way, Arcane for like animated series, like in general, not game awards, had come out so late. But I'm like, no, genuinely, that would have won. But since it came out so late, voting had already ended. But then it didn't roll over to the next year because of the whole year things. And that one really upsets me still. That wasn't even game awards. No lie, I kind of was wishing that Until Dawn won the best video game adaptation because like I really love that movie. It's so campy. It's not Until Dawn at all, but as a horror movie it was just very campy and funny. But I would have died if that won. It would have been so funny. With Claire, I heard all that hype, so when in this can't be as good as every. Yeah, and that's what, like, especially with this game, Steve, because I've heard so many people recommend it to me, people who I don't see play games normally or play a lot of games. And so I'm like, I think it just hit all the marks for everybody. It was really pretty. The story is great. The voice acting was amazing. Them dressing up as French people all the time really gets me. What did win for what I was talking about? Oh, or for the, what was it? Best video game adaptation was Last of Us Season 2. That's what won. Which I still don't think that one should have won. What else was there? Oh, I wanted Devil May Cry to win. I don't think Devil May Cry was going to win because a lot of people were upset about that. But we're getting a Season 2 and I'm so happy. Because it's happening again where people then are very nitty gritty. And like some of it I understand where then it doesn't line up to the actual lore of the game. But then they were also being very nitty gritty of, well, she wouldn't act like that. She wouldn't be like that. I'm like, okay, it's a really cool adaptation, okay? The animation is really cool. The song choices were amazing. Me and Coco fucking ate that shit up when that show came out. So it was great. Till Dawn wasn't a film adaptation? I feel like it really was. The game was, like, though the game itself really is just like a movie, that could be an amazing film. And I like the concept that they did. They just should have not named it Until Dawn. The little butterfly effect and all that of remnants of like the totems was so fucking cool. The one friend that got the short end of the stick and had the worst death, I feel bad for her. But like it genuinely was a really fun movie. Very campy, very like cabin in the woods type vibe. Hi, Giraffe. How are you? Watch it, but I heard so many people were mad because they to make the demons sympathetic. Yeah, How do I explain this? There are bad demons. I still have my stupid puzzle game up. There are bad demons. But then a lot of the demons were escaping and refugees from, I forget what it would, but from hell, because hell was killing them. Like the toxin there. I forget exactly what, because it's been a minute since I watched. But essentially they were refugees and trying to escape that. So they were just like, they're just normal. They're just demons. Like they were just normal, like citizens rather than like big boss demon type thing. Okay, yeah, you can have the receipt. It's just falling off the desk. Sounds really stupid. Yeah. I actually still really like the Devil May Cry was really fun. The big baddie in that was a really fun boss too. I don't know. I just had a fun time, and the animations for the fighting and everything were really fun. Wow, is they barking? Sorry, I locked back into this little puzzle. We gotta finish it. Who else was on? Game Awards. Beep. There's a package being delivered. I think it's my Amazon package. Winners. Okay, is this going into... Okay, it's going into my friend's album. Can I help you, ma'am? Oh. Okay, what was it? Lords of the Fallen's trailer with Ghost's cover of It's a Sin is awful because it's not on Spotify. Ghost's cover of It's a Sin is not on Spotify, so I hate it because there was such an amazing song choice for that trailer. Oh my god, new Tomb Raider. Friend with Dana's like, nah, nothing about them are good. They're completely evil. They only learn to speak so they can trick humans. See, that's what everybody... Okay, so Lady's whole thing in that is that whole spiel. Her father's lore is a little bit different. Is extremely different than what it was in the video games. So be it. But she is very much that. That is her mentality. That is literally Lady's mentality. But actually, then she was just like, oh shit, actually. What the fuck? Because then she met the normal ones. And I'm like, okay. I want Stupid Never Dies. Really bad. Yes. Already awarded it. Ooh. When does it come out? Stupid. Never. It was so... Oh, Never Died. It was so funny when that one came up because I've never played Lollipop Chainsaw. Seen a lot of stuff about it, but just never actually played it myself. Would really love to. I loved that whole aesthetic when I was growing up, but I just never got the game. My friends deciphering was just like, that's her sister. And I was like, okay. Just like, okay. Pop off, tell me this info. Resident Evil 9 and GTA 6 can't top Stupid Never Dies. Okay. Hear you, Steve. You can shut your bitch ass up. Resident Evil 9 can. GTA 6, I agree with that one. I can agree with that one. Leave my Resident Evil 9 out of your mouth. But... GTA 6 and fuck that. Resident Evil 9. I think Resident Evil 9, like... One, especially since I didn't play Lollipop, I don't have that much of a thrill for that. It looks really good. But also Resident Evil 9 just has a lot of throwback and especially big hype because it's the return to Raccoon City. If it was just like another one... Yes! Okay, no lie, Steve, right now I almost just grabbed the microphone because you do not realize me sitting there after have playing Resident Evil 6 that day and interacting with Sherry because we ran into Sherry at the end of Leon's story in Resident Evil 6. I was sat there listening and like I'm watching the trailer trying not to freak out because I'm like, okay, we got the drop of like Leon and then the person talking on the phone, I was like, why do they sound familiar? I was like, man, is this like Rebecca? Because I'm like, it's a very like soft voice. I'm like, is it Rebecca? And then I locked it. I was like, holy shit, no, this is Sherry. I freaked out. I was typing to Coco on the side because he wasn't talking, but I was typing. I was like, Coco, this is Sherry. This is fucking Sherry. Happy ending? Yeah, it makes sense why she's in it because she does work for the government. That's where we last left off of her. I'm so happy to see her again. Don't you dare, you're gonna knock it all over. Because I miss her. And she's a really fucking good character. And tell me the demon. The hell are good? Nah, that's literally how Lady was. So I agree, Doc. You are correct. So like I feel like the hype for Resident Evil 9 is so much bigger for me, but because one, Sherry. Even if it's just her voice. Some people are saying like, no, it's just Hunnigan. I was like, no, that's Sherry's voice. We've literally seen her grow up. We've literally seen her interact with her protective father and her protective little boyfriend. It's such a funny scene. Hi, games. Like that girl has been through it because we've literally seen her lose her family, find a found family, almost lose them. Sherry is pretty connected to... Could you not? Yeah. That's why, like, it took me a moment, because I was like, no, okay, this isn't Hunnigan, because Hunnigan has a very distinct voice, and I love Hunnigan's voice. But I'm like, that's Sherry. TikTok of Leon going, no, there's absolutely nothing that y'all can do to make me go back to reconcile. Nothing I'd rather die for. Leon leaves a voice off screen. But Leon, there's reports of an Asian lady with, yep, Asian lady in a red dress there. You know, oh my god, wait. If she, excuse me, pardon me. If she comes back, that's going to be the first time since they've seen each other since that dramatic ending in Resident Evil 6. That would be insane. Because I don't know if she's going to be in it, because they have talks of her in a sense of Village, like bringing her back for that. So they obviously want to use her again for a video game. It was just finding the moment and like finding the spot to put her in. So that's quite exciting. I'm so excited. Oh, where's my mouse? I had to move it. Well, then get some from Ada. Get some. Okay, yeah. Game of the year. I forgot about Donkey Kong. I'm looking at the winners for all the categories. Do 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 do. Yaddy, howdy, Gothic, how are you? It's a very good song. So, Steve, as nothing will be my Resident Evil 9 hype because Sherry, I'm sorry, my girl. I still have my puzzle game up. I have not beat it yet. I need to find the colors and I can't, so I gave up. I didn't end it, I just used a little tool instead. Because I'm stupid. I'm not. Promise you I'm not. How do I get there? Oh. From that one. Yippee! You're not stupid. I'm trying to do this little puzzle. I'm stupid. I'm not. I am. However, should not be playing this. Oh, fuck. There's one there. Is that red? Finding the colors is always so hard. That sounds really stupid. Finding the colors is such a hard thing to do. No, but because, like, I'm trying to find which blocks they're hidden under, so I can just skip to get to those blocks. But it's so hard to, like, keep track of all these blocks. Yeah, fuck it. Oh, fuck. I don't have the ability to do that. You're not stupid. I'm stupid. Super chilly this morning. That's crazy. The lowest we've been dropping is, like, 50? Possibly? Okay, Game of the Award stuff. Again, best art direction, though I think Expedition 33 was great, and it is beautiful art. I think it still deserved to win. But I'm like, man, kind of sucks for Hades 2 and Silk Song, because it's such a different, like, type of art style and a lot of different type of work to go into that compared to that, but they're both still beautiful. It's brutal over here. Oh my god, bro, it was freaking 73 here. It was 73 here. What the fuck? Sometimes people's different weathers kind of crack me up because I'm like, what do you mean it was that over there? My friend had a snowstorm the other day. I'm like, I'm sorry, it was like almost 80 degrees out. It was especially warm today. I need either red or... Okay, so we do this. 1, 2, 3. And then we have a red. We've hit the red. We have somebody's name that's read here in this stream, technically. Now I need to find purple. Came out in 2024. Probably would have dominated. Yeah, I can agree. I think there was just a genuinely, I think there was a lot of just like good games this year. Nothing quite as like so well rounded as Expedition 33, I think, but like there was a lot of good games. Because even Ghost of Yotei, I think, did really well. I never played it and didn't hear too much about it, but just looking at it visually, and also some of the songs, the soundtrack songs, I have one added to my Spotify. Really good. Same with Death Stranding. I do like that. It is kind of, well, I guess Hades is the second one too, but like, people are saying like it didn't bring too much new to it compared to the first one, but it's still really good. I would like to play that. Some good things about Larian's new. Dude, okay, who here has watched the Divinity trailer for Larian's new version of it? Because when that came out at Game Awards, we sat there trying to figure out what the fuck this was, and we were like, okay, no, it's really gruesome. My friend had good points because it hadn't been released or anything, so we were trying to figure out who this was, what company it was, because he was like, okay, there's too many races, it can't be this one because they don't have those in there. Bye. But it was also really funny watching the actors before they played it, like that came down onto the stage. The ones that got snatched up in the sky really made me laugh. They look kind of boring to me, but people that have played it said it was great. Okay. One of the reasons Ghost of Yotei didn't do well is because of the main voice actor. Because of Erica? What for? I really love her. But that's intriguing. I mean, I can't be shocked about that because in this industry and this day and age, you know, sure. Like people will pick up anything and then just that's what happens. Sorry, that did not make any sense. I locked back into this little silly little game. And that sentence was the worst sentence I've ever formed. Meow, 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 meow. But people really latch onto one thing. If they don't like that, then they just kill it. Did you have a favorite Claire character? So I have not played Expedition 33. I have not played Claire Obscura. My little baby. Hold on. Oh, sure. Okay. Let's just do behind the voice actors. Where's my little... Oh, it's... I can't believe that was fucking Charlie Cox. I can't believe that. I can't believe that was that man. Oh my god, they have really good actors in here. I'm trying not to spoil anything. Okay, so I want to say my little girlie. I don't know how to say her name. Male? But Jennifer English. Loved her. I love her. Where is Mr. Stoneman? I believe it's this guy. No, I don't think. Mr. Giant Stone Man, really fucking funny. I'm like looking at all the things. I'm like, okay. All the additional voices. Cool person. She does. Who was it that they should talk some people? Something along the lines of, want you to play? I have no idea if it's true or not. That's just the rumor I heard. I haven't been interested in the Go series. Fair enough. Honestly, I haven't been interested in the Go series. Always like the visuals. Always enjoy the visuals a lot, no matter what. But that's interesting. She said this is for the gays. Still need to edit. Holy shit, I don't have an edit for tomorrow. Oopsie. Hee hee. Haha. I was doing so good with editing shorts and everything, and then I got behind because of fucking holidays. That's interesting. I'll just see that. But like, I do really like Erica. I just saw her on the stage. She's really cool. And she adored her co-star for that too. It's interesting. Hey bud, how you doing? Love your hairstyle outfit? Thank you. It's my lazy fit today because my body does not feel good. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not want the song right meow. I do love that song though. Best score in music. I'm still going. I was slowly going through each category. Oh, see, but I can't be mad who won best audio design this year. When I heard she did the Captain Marvel thing. That's so sad. The hate that Brie Larson got too is fucking, that was so, well, oh, I hate that. I love Brie Larson. I did my thing reload. Shows how I don't know. I want my dramatic little Outlast Trials song that's still stuck in my head. I started working on that edit again. That is going to take some time because I need to learn new things for that, so I'm not going to rush that. But I do need to rush edit things so I can post. I'll probably rush edit something. I have plenty of stuff I could do. We're funny here. Feeling it? Ah, no, it's fine. It's just life. If you're not feeling well, because I like streaming. I'm not feeling well where, like, honestly, even when I'm having bad mental days, I like streaming and it usually makes me feel better. And it also distracts me, so it's fine. Captain Marvel complaints never made sense. I can agree, Giraffe. My cat was moving the cat tree. I was like, what's happening? What is going on here? I hated the hate that she got.
Hydrate, you bastard! Hydrate!
Because I don't, it was just so unnecessary. And I'm like, please. It's not a bad movie. Leave the girl alone. My weekend was fine. I went to go see my best friend this weekend because it was her birthday party. So we did an escape room and that was quite fun. I still owe her money for that. Oopsie. But it was really good. We had a lot of fun with that. So I got to see her and hang out with her. And then I had work yesterday and that was perfectly fine. We had a lot. Oh my God. We had a lot of shit that happened at work. And it wasn't bad, but it was just like, oh, okay, so this is happening now. Because we had, luckily, one of the other customers with me, their wife was working. And so they came back and gave us a heads up of like, hey. So we had a kid go up and meet them. And she had red dots on her. So, just a heads up for that. We're going to need a new suit and everything. I'm like, fuck. We had a bag and tag a costume, essentially. Because of a chicken pox. A possible chicken pox. So, we had to deal with that. And then we had somebody hurt his shoulder. And then that was it. Then I had, like, no performers. Got to leave the room early. And I'm like, okay. What was the theme? The theme for the escape room, it was called The Playground, so it was a school theme. She's a teacher, so that's why she picked that one. It was actually really fun. It was there was a slide. There was a slide in it. It was a lot of fun. Was a friend? Yes. She did. I think she did. She doesn't get to see us too often because, of course, she didn't move super far, but, like, in driving in this day and age, she moved far because she lives in LA. The LA district. I'm like, girlie, you moved so far. I'm still trying to fucking finish this, y'all. A slide? Yeah. It had it would start off with a little classroom, and then it opened up to the next section, which was the outside play area. And then the slide led into the last room, which was just like the locker gym area. That one was a really small room, but that's what it was. And it was really cool. Honestly, highly recommend. Was great. Talked with the front desk guy about D&D. Didn't expect that one, but you know, that was quite fun. It's very out of nowhere, but it was quite fun. I did also, unfortunately, out myself as a big gamer there because they had, I'm gonna close these Game Awards. They had a trial. No. They had an escape room there that was called Prison Break. And he was describing it. He was like, no, you guys, when you start this one, you start separate. There's 2 rooms that you enter in. And you start separated because you're in 2 different prison cells. And all I was thinking was like, oh my God, this is the Outlast Trials trial in the and Coils MK challenges where you start off on separate parts of the map of the police station. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just like Outlast Trials. So I was tweaking. I was like, this is fucking Outlast Trials. More like gamer. Exactly correct. Exactly. But because they were even talking about other trials that they've done, and they were like, yeah, it wasn't really obvious that you needed to drag the bodies there. I was like, ah, shit, I would have probably got that. That's just like Kill the Snitch when you have to drag the body all the way down the hallway. So I think I've played way too much Outlast Trials. Unfortunately, I need to play more because I need to finish the holiday thing, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
You bastard, hydrate!
I finished the puzzle. Wait, I finished the puzzle. We're gonna hydrate with coffee this time. I did drink water the last time. Okay. The agenda for today is we are playing Outlast the Beast. Oh my god, we're outlasting the Beast. We're playing Dying Light the Beast. Jesus Christ, I'm not okay. I have a lot of caffeine. I'm very hyped for tomorrow. I took medicine, so I feel fine. I should really see if that was my Amazon package because I ordered a cat hat for tomorrow. We outlasting the Beast. What did I see? I saw something that had a bear in it, and I was like, Sky. That's it. That was the whole statement. Autocorrect was just like, no, you mean bear. Said that Outlast Trials is just Scooby-Doo Simulator. I agree. I can agree with that. Like, Outlast is a lot of, like, different things put together, but then emphasized on a lot of murder and a lot of weird, not even just, like, I can't say sexual content, fucked up sexual content. So, yeah. I was mean bear, you always mean bear. We're outlasting the bear today. That's what we're doing. Dude, some of the fucking lines that, the twins, I forget their names, but the twins have are absolutely fucked up. Like, that shit is... If I ever hear that in game while we're streaming, I think I might just stand there stunned. Because that... I can't even explain. I don't even want to explain. It is insane. It's also insane because knowing that somebody had to voice that is so funny to me. Yippee! Put my iPad away, that charged a little bit, and then I could put this and plug this in because that's not charged. Come here. Screamings. Anyways, if everything goes to plan this week as well, Wednesday will be community farm. If I have to reschedule that or anything, we'll just reschedule it for the next week. My Christmas schedule isn't the worst. So I will be able to stream Monday, and I think I'll probably stream Friday. And then we go into the New Year's week. We'll see what that's like. Yes, quiet. How may I help you? Man, I want to play Outlast. I actually don't. I really want to play Marvel Rivals because I need to finish one of the little passes in it. Because I really want the bitch pudding skin. Bitch pudding. I don't want an F right now. Rocky Round to Dublin. I do need to watch Sinners. I can't do that tonight, though. Agony, pain, suffering. Everyone is getting engaged. Oh my god. Like, your time. Your... B just sent me a screenshot because one of her friends is getting married, but then she has a schedule today, 7 p.m. Breathe. Really makes me giggle. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Kai been mean to me, and he's gonna buy me... Oh, what's Necrons? I know what it's from. Okay, yes. Yes. How many we buying you? How many we buying you? I'm like, I know it's Warhammer, but what they look like? Well, what we buying you? Which one we buying you? God, why is Warhammer? Why do you got to be so expensive? Like, what for? Are we funding the skulls for the Skull Throne? Is that what we're doing? No, we did not do rolls yet. I have not. Oh, I have not done the rolls. Are they taking our blood for the blood god? Is that what's happening? Mental skeletons. What did I tell my friend? I think I wanted to be that little skull that just floats. Like, there's the skull that helps you with things. And he's like, no, it's a really bad death. I was like, no, it just seems like fun. It seems fun. I want to do that. Hugs you, grabs and hugs. Fun fact, 1883. The body of a man and the body of a bear were discovered in the field in Michigan. Both had extreme injuries, suggesting that they both had been fighting each other to the death. Doc, that story you said is Jake and the boss in the final ending of their story going mono-y-mono. Can I call corporate? Okay. If we do rolls, we'll make note of which roll is yours, which I probably will just do them soon. But you do your work. Yeah. Lore for you. Okay. Species of humanoid robotic skeleton warriors, and they have dormant in their stasis tombs for more than 60 million. Damn. I also really like the lore for the big guys, the really big guys, of like the Space Marine big guys. So the normal big guys, and then the extra large big guys who like basically like sleep, like they are that forever, and they only like wake them up every once in a while. I forget the whole lore of them, but like I liked their lore. It was fucked up. Loves you too. Go make call. Those ones, yeah, I forget what they're called. I know Doc would remember them too, because I think I've brought them up before, because I'm like, I like them. Fucked up, but like, I like them. Them seem cool. Them seem pretty metal as hell. I forget. They're busy. Oh, real as hell. Real as hell. Warhammer. Space Marines. The big guys? What if I type in big guys? Hold on. We're gonna type in big guys and we're gonna see what we get. Oh, it's these guys. It's these guys. Oh, what is... Okay, yeah, it's those guys, but tell me their name. Is it... That is that the name under it, or the... Or is it the one... It's the one under it, okay. Let's do names. There's a chunk chart for Space Marines. And there's 170, it's at level 70, 65% body fat, and the name that they gave him, oh lord, he's coming. Oh lord, he coming. Imperial Knights, possibly. Mega chunker, hefty chunker, a hacking chunker. He chunked a fine boy. Dreadnoughts, the dreadnoughts. It is the dreadnoughts. I'm gonna send you this chart because I think this is really funny. Let me look up. Yeah, it is the dreadnoughts. I couldn't fucking find their name, but I was looking at the right one. Where's your little... Actually, I'm gonna send it to Kai too. I think Kai would find it funny. Kai is a Warhammer holder, knowledge holder. I do a silly and buy a combat patrol for quiet. I support that little silly. I think that's quite silly and quite devious of you. I can't even suggest like, hey, you want my money? I'll help pay for it. I have no money right now. Literally have no money right now. And that's like an okay thing. It's just I bought a lot of gifts, so like I bought a lot of gifts right now, so I can't spend any more. There's so many doubloons. We can't afford it. We can start a little fund. Okay, I'm gonna do rolls. So first roll up is Doc. I'm just like double checking all the stuff. You were doing great, 16, 16, and then this is in fact a 3, which is the normal state of your mental health. Anyways, you're doing great. Kai. 11, 10, and 13. You're doing good. Body health, physical, like, roll as well. It's pretty good, pretty good. You're doing pretty like good. You're happy, you're good. Body is like, eh. But like, yeah, get paid right after Christmas. Hee 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 hee. Hee 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 hee. What if you buy second little gift, you know? Next up is Turnip. 10, 13, 11. You're doing just about the same. Like, you're doing pretty good. Got ice cream? Hell yeah, that's why you do good. So Turnip, you're doing good too. I think then just the next is Coco. 16, 8, and 1. Do you have to work today, Coco? Is that why you got an at one? Can you not play games today? Is that what happened? Other than that, you're doing great. Mental health, great. Mental health for the day, not good. Ice cream? What type of ice cream, actually? Please share with the class. At least the info for the ice cream. Voila, voila, voila. Man. Popped out my jaw yawning. Do we want Christmas music today? I'm queuing up Christmas music right meow. Or do we want normal music? Or do we feel any sort of difference? I'm going to run to the restroom before I start playing the game, but I'll boot it up and everything. Once I switch it over. Creamy Graham? Okay. Let's see. Let's find a good Grimace music. Grimace? Crim Pop? Crim Pop. What's on Crim Pop? Crim Pop doesn't seem too bad. Let me find a playlist. But I like my country Grimace. No. Classic Grimace. Okay. Grimace hits? Grimace hits had some stuff that we like, but also put my Trans-Siberian Orchestra on there. Grimace. I'm trying to find a good Grimace. Crim. 100 Christmas songs. I do actually like the Pentatonics Christmas songs. Those are really good. Winter Christmas? What's winter Christmas? Is that the feeling of snow? Okay, this one actually does have a Schlatt on here, so we might do that one. It's the auto-generated ones. Christmas Pop? Let's, okay, we're gonna try this. There's 3 Schlatt songs on this one. Actually, we're gonna reshuffle this. We're gonna go to this, hold on, and I'm just gonna hit that. I didn't put it on shuffle, so fuck me, I guess. I messed it up. Okay. Oh, I almost spent $99 last night in a very funny way. Because I went to go buy a video game that Jordy wanted me to buy so we can all play. Unfortunately, at the same time, I forgot that I had put the deluxe edition of Resident Evil Requiem in the cart. So then I went to check out and I looked, I was like, $99? Why is it $99? I looked over, I was like, oh, Resident Evil's in there. No, that I'm never leaving cause my Mr. Snow. Dying Light. And hide from the sun. Squish. Yeah. Think he was talking about the game last night? Yeah. The FBC Firebreak. I was like, I actually don't remember what it's called. All I know is that earlier in the day when I was at work, it was like, hey, would you want to buy this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. If you want to play it, yeah, I'll fucking buy it. I'm a sucker for playing games with my friends. I'll probably buy it either way, even if I don't really enjoy it. So I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, let me think. And then it was towards the end of my shift. He was like, I bought this for me and wife. So buy it. I was like, oh shit, okay. We mean business. We're in business. I like the Beast. Don't know that I'm never leaving, cause I'm Mr. Snow. Okay. I'm gonna leave you watching Crane on this screen. with the lovely little Christmas music. Actually, no, I need to continue campaign. I need to pop my shoulders, bro. Oh.
Killed another fucking chimera. Data from a disc I found leads back
Killed
to Haran.
another fucking chimera.
Olivia seems pretty excited about it.
Why is...
Camilo, the
has
scientist
Mr. Kyle Crane always been this aggressive? Like in the other game? I don't remember him being so aggressive. Kill another fucking chimera. Like, whoa. Why am I here? Okay. Nope. Yes? Okay, now watch Mr. Kyle Crane. I'll get you Nessie. Oh. I thought Mochi was another plushie on my bed. Anyways, here's Nessie. I'll be right back. We are just starting the game. Watch Mr. Kyle Crane. Make sure he doesn't do anything. That's it. That's just... Yellow. Hello, fire. Talking about, and before I could ask what's going on, my phone decided to have a panic attack, froze, restarted, and Twitch broke. I had to delete and restart. What the fuck? You would know what I was talking about. I was talking about the Warhammer dreadnoughts. I just couldn't remember their names. Couldn't remember their names. And I was like, Doc would know this. I was like, what the fuck are we talking about? Guess what, guys? I took really good medicine. Grenade launcher? Okay, that's kind of crazy. That was a lot of noises that happened at once. Anyways, so the medicine really didn't do much, so... Oh. Oh, they gave me some grenade launcher stuff, too. Ooh. The revolver's quite nice. Dismantle this shovel. Dismantle this. I don't know what else is. Oh. What do I... Did I get a new shirt? Okay. Ooh. That's kind of cool as hell. Sorry, Mr. Kyle Crane. We're putting that on. Roll. Let me do your roll fire since we did them. 8, 17, and 14. You were doing pretty damn good. Junior! During my lunch break, but I'm back. No, illegal. 8, 7, and a nat 1. I hope your holidays are going well and everything, Junior. We do miss you here dearly. I'm gonna fight you. We're gonna bite you in the arm, Junior, and then you're gonna stay. If we bite you, then you can't leave. That's the mentality. If we bite you in the fucking leg, you cannot leave us. Meow, 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 meow. How are you doing today, Fire, though? I'm doing good. I'm in pain. Just normal body things, you know. Gonna fight the normal body things, but it's just a little fucked up and evil of it to do that. Ow. Not as bad as the one time that I almost passed out from it. That one was crazy. New rule, bite, no leave. Exactly. You gotta tell your employers, sorry, my friends bit me, I can't go. Ooh, Kai. And I think for Quiet, too. I'm not sure. I was listening to Magnus Archives last night because I didn't bring my iPad to work. I only brought my book, and then I didn't have the energy to watch a movie because I didn't know what to pick, but then I didn't have my iPad to draw while watching a movie, so that I didn't want to watch a movie, so it was that whole incident. But anyways, I was listening to Magnus Archives. I got to the vampire killer one. That was quite interesting. Being a bitch, I may not be here. No! We'll be here when you can. But what the fuck, bro? That's kind of fucked up and evil. I hate the stupid... Twitch Mobile is so fucky wucky. So fucked. F. What does she want?
Kyle, right?
Yeah, and you are?
She's so pretty.
Jenna. Lydia has me keep tabs on all this junk. In a way, you could say I'm our storekeeper.
So what's on your mind?
Fucky and wacky? Yes.
I
Yes,
got an urgent
Giraffe.
problem, and I need your help. Ron's in distress.
I need to fix my belt. Oh.
How are you so sure?
Just felt his presence.
Telepathically.
Yeah. He didn't speak. It was just his fear.
Oh.
He's in danger.
That's never fun, feeling somebody else's fear. Who the fuck is Ron?
One of my suppliers. Folks
I need to
here
respond to
always
my
need
friend.
things, meds,
He made fun of me for
books,
playing
batteries.
my
Ron
zombie
and I
games,
have
and then he
lots
made
of
fun of me
finding
the other
stuff.
time too when I was playing my zombie
maybe
games and
Anna would
listening
know
to
where
Mariah
Ron is.
Carey Christmas music.
Can't
And
leave her either.
today's gonna be a great
They're
one if he
always
sees what I'm
together.
listening to and playing.
Here, out there, they're peas in a pod, inseparable.
So the
they-
runs, how long do they usually take?
Ow.
Sometimes a day, sometimes several. It varies.
I like
They
this
bought
chick a
home away
lot.
from home, a place they used to hunker down, keep out of sight, store loot.
Oh, I didn't grab my little lipstick. Oh well, I'll get up eventually.
Wait, Lydia's okay with them leaving the cave?
Look around
I can't believe
you.
I have so many
We're
One Piece
always lacking
cards.
something
bruh.
here. Lydia gets
Hey,
that.
somebody's playing
So she turns
Warhammer.
a blind eye.
Got to get by somehow, right?
I don't know which Warhammer that is, Quiet, but Quiet's playing Warhammer. That's it. That's my announcement.
I can track him down for you.
Dude,
I know
I'm
you
still...
got a lot on
I
your
am
plate,
honestly... Like, it's not worth a
I'll make it
lot.
worth your while.
So, in the long run,
Check
it
that
don't
big
matter.
mansion
But,
in the
like,
villa area. Ron and
this
Anna
fucking
were using it as their pit stop.
Doflamingo card is so
Well, I hope I find some
pretty.
clues there.
I love my
so,
psychotic
too.
man. He is a walking red flag. I like his brother better. Anyways, Warhammer. Warhammer. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. I said your favorite word. Oh, has anybody here bought their tickets for Iron Lung? I need to buy my tickets still. I am so excited. Problem with George Michael and Mariah Carey during the holidays is that no one listens to the rest of the catalog. Fair. That's kind of why, right now we put on specifically a...
Thanks for keeping us safe, mate.
Shut up. Just a playlist. So it's playing a variety. Oh, Kev is playing Resident Evil 7. Kev, how are you? I suppose you're not at work today if you're playing Resident Evil 7. How far did you get in it? I forget. You were welcomed into the family. I do remember that. But I have been listening to, like, you work tonight? Ew. Tell them no. Tell them Resident Evil calls. The evil residents call you. I do, however, Giraffe, like listening to the albums. And then when I have the albums finished, I just let it autoplay to recommended similar songs. And so that's how I've been listening to a lot of Christmas music this year. And I kind of like it. I'll usually listen to Schlats or Leife, her whole album. I'll listen to both of those albums fully. About to end our brother's game. Oh, ew. Be wary of boxes. That's all I'll tell you. Good luck with psychological warfare. Oh, I thought it was nighttime. Did I have a car here? Where am I going? Meow, 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 meow. I guess I'm going over there, but I kind of want to go to this town. The goal today, not that. I mean, if I just go there, then I can make a run today. I'm shaking my leg a lot. I need to stop that. That's side quest. Sign of love. Tennis runners. Okay, that's the main one we just talked to her about. Is this the main? That's a side quest. What was the main quest? Where the fuck is the main quest? Get to the volatiles hive. Oh. Oh. I don't want to go to a volatile hive. Is that a volatile hive? How lovely. Okay, let's do some other things before we do that. Feel like I need to beef up and get some stuff done. I still like the idea, and I literally have it written down for this reason. Because I like stock ID. Whee! Oh, my face. I thought that said get railed. I am not okay. I am. I'm blind and cannot read. I didn't mark it. Okay, there we go. Well, I liked Doc's idea of the freaking edit for this game. And I will always take note of that. Is it there? Okay. Sorry. It's just dangling from this building. I don't even need to be climbing on this building. I'm making my life more difficult by climbing on it. Reading is overweighted. Overweighted? Oh my god. Ah! Overweighted. Fuck up. Oh, I didn't press that fast enough. Is he dead? Okay, he's dead now. Okay, so the adding W's to words is so funny to me. Honestly, like, stands up. But when I tell you, I genuinely, oh my god, I hate myself so much. Don't mean to use it. Oh my god, I'm stuttering now. I don't mean to I'm gonna shut the fuck up. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna shut the fuck up. Apparently speaking is overrated too for me. Where's my nearest hideout? Okay, up there. There is a car right here I could drive. If I get to there too, there is a hideout. I'm gonna mark that already. I think I'm having a stonk, you guys. What's that? What's happening over there? Speaking is overrated? When yapping is underrated? You're so right. I love yapping. I just hit a perfect... My brain hit a perfect, unison of stutter? Speed? Word? W? Yes. Me go. Boom. Oh, I should make things. I like had a full stonk there. But genuinely, I don't mean to add a W to things sometimes. Genuinely is my excuse because that's how I actually say genuinely. I say genuinely. And I didn't know that was wrong for a long time. So now, unfortunately, that is how that word is. Bow, 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 bow. Let's do a pipe bomb. And we'll do... we'll do one of those. We'll do that. Gadgets. Let me see what's in my inventory. Let me change that to this. Bam, 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 bam. I hate myself. I don't. I actually quite love myself. What's on that roof? Oh, it's just a chimney. I can't speak though. It doesn't help that I did actually fail speaking as a child. I did go to speech therapy, so you know, I did actually I don't like the little music kicking up like that. Love yourself more? Frick yeah. Frick yeah. I hate that I auto-censor my cursing sometimes. Dude, I don't know how to talk to managers. That's a work thing. Kev, I don't know how to talk to our managers. I saw one last night. He's just a silly little guy. But like, I don't know how to talk to managers. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I went to Bath and Body Works. Hi. Okay, so I haven't seen you guys in a while. I haven't yapped to you guys in a while. I have so much to tell you. I went to Bath and Body Works just to buy Christmas gifts. Walked in on the biggest sale of the year, which was everything was $4. So I bought myself a new lotion and a new spray because it was almost out. So I got a new scent and I think I really like it. It's a very powdery smell. That sounds really odd, but like for old style smells, it's very nice. I like it. You just don't till you do. Yeah, I don't know. Like my friend has such a great, like, I'm scared. Where the fuck y'all come from, bitches? Did y'all just see them come out of the floor like that? Go towards that pretty little sound, losers. How do I'm gonna remain calm. Anyways, yeah, apparently, because, like, they have a good, relationship in Convo, and, like, I've talked to this specific manager before, and I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I hate you, dumbass. I love you, dumbass. Actually, we take this one. Sorry, I grabbed a whole bunch of stuff that I actually needed. My foot's really cold, so you know when you're extra cold and you hit something? It, like, hurts extra. I just scraped my foot on my chair. This is the scent that I got. The sweetest song, but it's very, like, hold on. I'm subjecting you guys to this haul. It's very old style, very cutesy, very demure. Love it very much, but it smells very nice. I actually do really need lotion right now. My hands are constantly dry. I usually try to use scents like this, but then at the same time, I have Gold Bond. I think that's what it is called. Sorry, Kuromi's tail sometimes stabs me. No lie. It's a little devil tail, but it's like a tiefling tail. I have to use gold bond a lot because my hands are like severely dry because of how much fabric I've interacted with. Truth be told, ever since I worked at Juice It Up, my hands have been fucked, okay? And then I worked at a bookstore, so you know what? The paper absorbs the moisture. And then you know what? Now I work with fabric, and the fabric absorbs the moisture, so I can never truly live. This is what lipstick I got. I've had this for a while. My friend Jordan bought it for me, and by that, he wanted to spend money on us. But genuinely, such an amazing lipstick. And that is what you get when you pay $40 for one. I still want that Gucci lipstick. It's so fucking cool. I wasn't ready to untab. Excuse me. Cover myself in the goop. Cover myself in the goop. Cover myself in the goop. Oh my god, there's so many bodies in here. Is this game really dark? It is. I also didn't have my flashlight on for a second there. Hold on, cover myself in the goop. I think I did overkill here and I threw way too many bombs, but I'm not gonna complain. But the game is relatively dark. Right now it's currently nighttime, so I feel like it's extra dark. Cover myself in the goop. Also, I now do have goop all over my face, so it's extra different. Just comparing other screens to mine. Fair. I would say, yeah, it's dark, and with the yellow, like, film over it from having the goop on me, cover myself in the goop, it's kind of really dark. Not too bad, where I can't excuse me. Excuse me, buddy. Now we run for our life. During the day, perfectly fine. Said if volatile see light, that'll attract them. I turned my light off, and it's pitch black. Yeah, it's fucking pitch black, bro. If I have my light off, oh my god. Oh my god. I just gotta get there. I don't care what's behind me. Yeah, if I turn that off, it's dark. It's not too bad here. Oh, Jesus Christ! I should have never turned off my fucking light! Oh my god! So that was an awful mistake. Cause like, look at there. I can see, but I can't. Fuck you, little butt, bro. God, that scared the shit out of me. Feels like a horror game now? Yeah. Get over here. I turned off my light at the worst point. Oh, it's the wrong side of the ladder. The moon is very pretty. I love the moon. Anyways, welcome in. Sultry pasta. Okay. Okay. Pasta. Look it up. Because it's even really dark up here. It kind of lightens itself in some scenarios where, like, okay, you can see, but when you're down there on the floor, you can't fucking see. You can't see shit. Where did I come from? I think I came running from that way. Nope, there's no pinging system in here. Let me not accidentally hurt myself. Do I only need the, one? Collect plasma samples. Let me track this really quick. If she wants me to go to a specific... I went to one. I guess I gotta do... I mean, that one shouldn't be too bad. Okay. So I can either chat with an unstable connection or don't chat with a perfect connection. That's a little... fucked. It's a little fucked up. Cats have been bathed, and I have been traumatized. How did the cats handle it? How did each little baby do? I hope the babies did well. Where was I going for this quest? Oh, okay, so it'll be nice. Meow, 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 meow. We need to have a meowoki. It's for anybody that comes in may think that's so stupid. But I'm telling you, it's so fucking funny. It's the stupidest shit I probably will ever do. Just a little meowoki. So funny. We went ham that one Halloween night, and nobody was there. It was so funny. We were the pure entertainment just for B going through the drive-thru. Need to be wrapped up in a blanket and a cup of cocoa? Oh my god. Yes, she do. Oh my god, Shaylin, I'll wrap you up in a little blanket and give you hot cocoa. Don't worry, I'll do it. I volunteer as tribute. There's a... Oh. Oh, did I run out of... I didn't run out of... Meow, 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 meow. For a glass of white wine, thanks. Fair. Why not, like, white wine and then, like, a little bit of hot cocoa when it gets really cold? Or, like, a little bit of both? Or a charcuterie board? I'm so sorry to anybody that just joined. Jesus Christ. Be real. Oh, I can't fucking read. Parking Kyle. Who's talking? Who's talking over here? Not you. You ain't. You dead. I heard a voice. Are we doing what to Kyle Crane? Because yes. Oh, is he dying? Oh my god, Kyle Crane, you're the stupidest bitch I've ever. Jesus Christ! Mr. Kyle Crane. Who am I helping? Okay. I can't see. I can't see straight right now.
Bring it on.
Oh! I was wondering where the other guy was. Are you safe? Oh, you are. You didn't say anything. What? Something below us. Okay, anyways. Death for me? You said fuck yeah? I concur. I can concur. I would say hell yeah. That poor zombie. I'm sorry. Ooh, easy lockpick. Okay. They pass. He's... Sorry, I'm fucking up so badly with this right now. Yeah, I fucked up so badly, bro. I did not lock in. Muscular. Plus, he doesn't seem to be over Jade. I don't think he'll ever be over Jade, but that's a fair analysis. I don't know why I took it so formal. A fair analysis. What's down there? But you know, if I was in the zombie apocalypse when this was happening, yeah, sure. Fuck it. Fuck him. Matter of fact. Oh. I think they're dead. I think they're just a little dead. Kitties! I love cats! Glitching! Oh, locked from inside. We're inside. Open. Hi, glitching. How are you? Love at first fight. Somebody needs... That would be a perfect, like, romance story. It'd be like Warm Bodies all over again. Thank you, Doc. Thank you. Thank you. Oh.
Hello, Raiders. My name is Sarah. I'm a variety streamer. We do mixed bag Mondays, Farmly Friendly Wednesdays, and Horror Thursday.
It's been 8 months already.
Or please join us on this wild ride we call life. Whoop, whoop.
It's been 8 months. That's crazy. Thank you, Glitching, for the 8 months.
It's been 8 months already.
Yes. I like how it speaks twice, because the other one was still going, but then it had the second voice go. Let me double check over here. I want into this building. But thank you, Glitching. How was your stream today? What were you guys doing? I have a mission and I was doing stuff in this, but I'm distracted now. Also, for anybody new and joining, now we have the question of, thoughts on Mr. Kyle Crane? Would you? Would? Sorry, I'm sliding on this roof. I'm sliding all over the place, bro. Mr. Kyle Crane, pull it together. Let me try this side. That is the kitchen area. Ooh. Did not appreciate that zombie. Good start at Doki Doki Literature Club. Let's do some Power World. Okay, fair. Oh, that's the fence. I want in here. I assume if it's through that, I have to come up through the bottom. Fuck you. Mr. Kyle Crane is so aggressive. It's so funny. Excuse me, pardon me. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. Sorry. I jumped way too early. There we go. I still need to play Doki Doki Literature Club. I remember playing it on... We had it on autoplay. Sped up. Super fast. So we got one of the pink hair girly... Short pink hair girly. Her little ending. And we all just like gasped and was like just staring at the screen like, what the fuck? It was so funny. It was definitely a moment. It was a moment in all of our friendships. Don't even talk to a lot of those people anymore. But it was quite funny. That was a Christmas party, I'll have you know. Great memories. What a great Christmas party that was. Kind of disturbing game? Yeah, it is. It's really good though. It is that type of game. It's meant to be like that. And it did its job. Yippee! Wahoo! It did, in fact, do its job pretty damn good. Oh my god. Wahoo! Oh, sorry, zombie. I meant to grab like a tree or something. Okay. This is also where I need to be at night, I see. I thought I could just go to any of them. Oh well. But how are you doing other than that, glitching? Also, if you need to go or anything and take care of yourself, please do. That is most important. Otherwise, we're just here yapping. I'm here yapping because my little brain chemicals in my brain today are firing. Dude, I was talking to one of my, ooh, a thing to do. Let me get that. I was talking to somebody at work. Anyways. Oh. Can I use your head, please? Okay. Don't touch my toes. Anyways, they were talking about welcome to Derry. And I'm like, man, well, don't try to bite me, please. And I really need to watch that show. Okay. Y'all are too much. Hello? I really need to watch that. Have any of y'all? Yep. Oh, I missed it. Whoa! Oh. I landed on a zombie and then he bit my ass. Sorry, I'm just trying to do this in probably not the right way. But it's quite funny. Ow, okay. Fuck you. And you. Who's hitting me in the back? You? Whoever hit me in the back, your mom's... Oh my god. Fuck you. Dang, what bitches? I don't like the looks of that place over there, I won't lie. There we go.
Hydrate, you bastard! Hydrate!
Okay, I'll drink water. Where's Uppies? Okay. I guess this is Uppies. I want to lead zombies over here and then burn them alive. You know, now I won't. Where's my little turn on? I will drink some waters. I won't lie though, this lotion also makes my nose kind of act up. I am allergic to fragrances and scents, but unfortunately I like fragrances and scents, so there's no stopping me. Ooh. Okay. Cluster of apartment buildings in recent days. There's one last building we'll have to check. It's like on the outskirts. Oh, I think I've actually been in there. Because this is that like big apartment section where we have a safe house. Wahoo! Leaves! Did kind of hurt. Where is he? Oh, that's not the weapon I thought I had out. This is a cute like little farm. Oh, don't be like zombies, eat veggies. Damn. What a crazy statement. Okay, well that's quite rude. Shut the fuck up. Nuh-uh. Anybody else? Okay. We're good. We're in the clear. Ooh! He was not in the clear. Oh, I have to lockpick this one? Yippee! It was actually easy. Ooh, like a roll. Let's see glitching. 3, 13, and a 15. Overall, you're doing really good. Maybe just a little tired. Maybe you should go rest a little bit since you were streaming. But other than that, you are doing really good. Oh, this is fucking depressing. Anyways, I'm gonna loot all their stuff. Just gonna loot all their things. It's okay. Ooh, this is very good. Oh my god. He still has a... He's got one sock on, only one shoe. Don't know what happened to the other shoe. Okay. Sam is gonna go ahead and lurk. Yes, please take care of yourself. You need a little bit of rest and relaxation after streaming. So please do take care of yourself. But we will be here nonetheless, if you do need company. Oh, Quiet, you need one too. Oh, that makes so much sense. You do have a 6, so I think you're just a little tired. It's been a long day. You know, you've had a full day. But you got a nat 20 and a 19, so you're doing amazing. You're very happy. Very happy, very good. I never found the other places I needed to loot. Oopsie.
Oh, this is the rail yard. Let's see if the old hippie has a right to be scared.
Yep. Oh, oh. Oh, I don't know what happened to my game there. But it, in fact, stopped. It gave me, like, little spots to look. Find sources of telepathic disturbances. Ooh.
What the fuck?
Bro, I don't know. Excuse me, pardon me. Just gonna turn on a little power. Don't mind me. No, Crane, we're going down. I'm going downtown. Taking that mine. Currently unpowered. Open sesame! Fuck yeah, Quiet, you're doing great. You're doing amazing, sweetie. I'm so excited for you. I just like teleported all the way up. Okay, so someone's being a little freak out there. And it's kind of stressing me out. I can hear the breathing. Where is that little freak? Watch a little jingle jingle noise. Ah, fuck it. We'll just send it right there. Oh. May have exploded just a few things. I don't want to deal with that. Is she gonna try to get me? Oh, she's on fire now. Okay. That's a big dude, yeah. Oh, I don't know if I want to waste those. We'll use this one for now. Because I have it? Oh, the poor guy. Poor guy's like, ew, what the fuck, bro? What the frick? I don't know what the frick this song is. I really do love these. I should probably find more materials. Sure. I love this little funky tune. Oh, is the other chick dead? Oh no, she's broken. I probably shouldn't just explode him, but it's quite fun. Fuck. Oh. So I think I exploded her head. What a wonderful Christmas time. I threw so many bombs at him. What a easy little tower we gotta do. Yeah, I exploded her head off. I don't know how that works, but I did it. That's all we need to know. Is that I did it somehow, and oh, I don't like this creepy noise you get when you go into a slightly dark area. Well, I don't know why I tried to move that. It's an easy lockpick and it was right there. Oh my god, Jesus fucking Christ, I hate you. You know what I really hate? Is in this game particularly, they really like doing that. And I keep on running into them. I keep on just falling for the same fucking trick over and over again. That really scared me. That's how I would get got in a freaking zombie apocalypse. No lie. I would just accidentally walk into a room and forget to check my sides. Ow! Oh, is there no cord there? Oh, there's a cord there now. Yippee! Turning the power on. Yippee! We have power. What's here? I love power from Chainsaw Man. It's my favorite. Oh. No. Stole somebody's wallet. What's in here? Oh, locked from inside. Let me in. Ooh, a lot of goodies. This is a very mixed emotion of in-game music and outside game music. There we go. And my brain is slightly confused. Something on the outside there? I was like, can I take the darts from the dartboard? They were fucking throwing knives. Oh, there it is. Well, I turned this on, so now let's just walk. That was a whole cord. I would have...
Jeez, what happened here?
I don't know. Oh, right there? Oh. How did none of us see this? We jumped right through there, and I didn't see this. Did this just happen? Can I loot your body? No. Oh no. Oh, my head! Literally hit me right in the fucking noggin, bro. How freaking rude. Fuck you. Yeah. Bonk. I wish I could then take that. Wahoo! That was so... I don't know why, but every time he kills somebody while in beast mode, I genuinely get shocked. That... I just turned that man around and just freaking crushed his head. Damn. Okay, 2207. We split off from the group. We won't run anymore. We'll fight back. 2407. We now live in the old rail tunnel. My son and I communicate without words. His abilities grow stronger. Oh, okay, so they're... Oh, 2507. The infected tried to attack us, but they suddenly stopped when my son glared at them, and they stood and stared. 408, they listened to him. 508, he claims he's in control, but I'm not sure. 608, I woke up at night, and I swear something was here with us in our room, and it was gazing at me. I'm afraid. 908, something awful is happening to my son. I can hear his thoughts, and they terrify me. 1008, I must save him. Oh, no. The way he fucking cracks his skull open scares the shit out of me, bro. This one. Oh, I really just like the... Oh, wait, hold on. I'm processing what we're doing here. It's probably something with her son or whatever her son was doing. What are the bodies that I killed? Ooh, snack packet. I don't think I like that. I don't think that's gonna be quite fun. I do miss taking those big guys as weapons. Okay, so let's just... investigate?
How they really clung to the car.
I don't know if you guys can hear this song. I'm gonna skip it. That was so funny. Oh, yes. Let me... my classic. Oh, I didn't check her. Ooh, what's this?
Yeah, the car tried to ram him. Or maybe they were trying to stop it.
I don't like how his face looks. Oil. Oh.
My son. The tunnel.
It's okay now. What's your name?
Emma.
Oh, there's a
Emma,
sad.
your son needs help. He's in the tunnel. No, Emma. Emma. Shit.
Her ponytail stayed perfectly beautiful, even through a crash.
What's the situation?
There's a
I
situation.
found someone named Emma. She died just a moment ago.
Davis? A brunette?
You knew her? She said
Kind of
something about her
brunette.
son, about that rail tunnel, but not enough to make sense.
Me too quiet.
Remember
Me too
that
quiet.
basement where you went to get the gallbladder?
Yeah, how could I forget?
It's where they split from us after a disagreement. Listen, her son's name is Rick. He's only 20. Maybe he's still alive?
I think he's a little different.
Maybe.
Go and check that tunnel, will you? Whatever's jamming our telepathy might also be in there.
I think it's Rick himself. I think it's the son himself. I don't think I'm gonna like this quiet. I don't think this is gonna be a fun time. We have lovely Christmas music going though. Oh.
Sorry, come again?
Need your help. They're attacking me.
Okay, maybe Rick isn't the problem.
Them.
The fuck?
I don't like this. You don't know the rules. Coral! Coral! I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that.
Baron's men.
Oh.
Aimless sacks of shit. Who is that?
No one. Ow! Ow! Oh no! Okay, where's this? You! Stop it! Where's the other gun person? Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! There's another gun person. I hate these gun people. Stop it! Okay. This is like the flood moments in Halo 3. Oh my god, I fucking hated that. I hate the flood so much. It's so scary. Hello? Oh. I'm starting to get used to the... Bye! Getting used to the, grapple.
Good. They're dead. Now come to us.
What the hell is going on?
So I kind of retract my statement. I don't think the son is good anymore. Not with a voice like that. Oh, that's just the enter vehicle. A lot of enter vehicle buttons. Oh, hello, distress single. Single? Jesus Christ, I'm stupid. Yep. That's what I thought. We'll turn these off. I don't think the son's gonna be good. I'm kind of scared. He kind of sounds like a psychopath. And that's okay. That's fine. We can help. We can change him. Oh, didn't mean to hit the ground. I can fix him. Somebody hit oh, somebody needs help. Sorry, Mr. Rick Grimes. I gotta help somebody. Oh, he's literally on the train tracks. Is it H?
Help!
You gonna get up? I helped you.
Thank you.
What'd you
Thought I
trip
would
on?
make it.
Oh, he got his head. Okay, bye. Anyways, sorry, Mr. Rick Grimes. I'm coming. Chosen one. Has anybody here? I talk about it all the time, and I always ask my rounds of people of. Have we watched Kung Pao here? I know certain people, but not all people. What was that? Jingle jingle? Sparkle sparkle? Because I only know a few people who I know for sure have or haven't seen. Oh, I don't like this. Hey, Mr. Rick, I don't like your house. I don't like your house at all, Mr. Rick.
Clothes, supplies. Emma and Rick lived here.
Mr. Rick, I don't like your house at all. I am stealing your goodies. No lie, no cap. But I don't like it. Rick's... Oh! This looks lovely. Rick's findings. I sense them. Their simple, repulsive minds. I sense their fear, their pain. I love this song. Enormity of their hatred. Then I took charge and made them leave. I command them. Mom couldn't believe it. I know what our next step needs to be. I must master these monsters and locate the Baron. It'll be my little experiment on him. Unreadable fragment covered with some sort of bodily fluids. Accurate. 2 weeks have passed. Oh my god. Oh my god, he's writing it. Oh, it's slowly getting worse. Because, like, this is, like, messy, but, like, okay. Oh my god. 2 weeks have passed. It's all so good. I'm with them. As for her, she bothers me. She cannot comprehend what is to come. It's too bright here. We must go down where it's dark and warm. Rest of a note is... Oh, I think he's losing it. I don't know if he's good.
What were they up to here?
What was he up to? Hey, can I have that knife? There we go. You. Oh, hey, so you know what I'm just noticing? All the eyes that are on the walls, and they kind of really disturb me because they kind of like a little bit of tryptophobia, you know? And I don't really like that. I don't like that one. Specifically this one. I don't like that. I didn't notice all the eyes. Yeah, so I don't know if he's good or not. Well, he had soap. Oh, I don't like that. There's all the eyes in the shower in the bathroom. Okay. Yep. Okay, so where are we going? We have to go further in. Is there anything over there? No. Jack 3 is pissing me off. Fair. Oh. Oh.
Okay, they're ignoring me.
I don't like this. What a great point of the song to play. What if I hit one of them? I really want to hit one of them.
Come in and damn it. Blow up the tunnel. I repeat, blow up the tunnel. Over.
They're gonna blow up the tunnel?
Blow up the fucking tunnel.
Oh.
Come in. Answer, damn it.
Hello. Are you awake, sir? Song suits so much. It
might be
suits it
useful.
so well. Oh, we're just taking that? Okay.
Execute the order. Blow up the tunnel.
Oh, if I'm just staring down at it.
Up the tunnel.
He really wants me to blow up the tunnel. And now we are psychopaths again. Listening to Mariah Carey. Do I have to go through this door? Oh yeah, okay. Anything down here? This is very weird and I'm very uncomfortable with walking past these guys. I say as I start sprinting like a madman. Oh, this is really bad. I don't think her son is savable, salvageable, anything.
We see you.
Well, I don't see you. And I don't like that. Yeah. Oh, why do you have him in the wall? Oh, they're following me. Hey, so I think I stumbled into a horror game here. And I know this is a horror game, but I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this type of agenda for today.
Receive me. Embrace me. Give me your warmth. Us, not me. Shield us. Enlighten us with your touch.
Part of the crew, part of the ship. That's why he's...
Not me.
He's not even infected.
So much light.
So I think something fucked up is happening going here. Is happening here. Which way is the right way? What's over? I think that's further into the tunnel. What's this way? Oh. Guess this is a dead end. Okay, so it's just this way. I don't like this one bit. Like, I thought her son was fucked up, but now I think he's, I don't think he's anything anymore. Oh, I hate the little zombie, the part of the ship, part of the crew zombies. Hey, how you doing? Don't reach for me, don't touch me. What the fuck, bro? Mr. Kyle Crane, we have so many weapons on us.
Greetings.
Greetings? Is that him?
Fuck me.
We shall tell.
Ow, what? Oh yeah, okay, so I knew this was a bad idea coming in here.
We've been waiting for you.
For me? You know me? I'm popular?
Come nearer to us. Join yourself to us.
You know, that's why his mother said run.
Rick, is that you?
You better watch out.
The unity, the swarm.
You. Why do you want my body?
Why'd you lure me here?
For your blood, your body, great change, strength for us.
And for me?
There'll be only us. Together. Perfect.
Perfect? Yeah,
I don't like
so
that he's
sure
not
about
looking at us.
Rick, you in there?
Lie down among us. Join yourself to us.
He's trying to lie with me?
No, it's us.
How'd this happen?
That sounds...
He studied
Oh my
us, evaluated
sounded
us,
like a Morty scream.
desired us, our power.
I tried to use my mind to control. Oh!
And he joined us.
That's right.
Rick? Hey, kid, how can I help you?
My mom.
Oh.
Where?
No! There's only us.
Do we tell him his mother's dead? Yeah, we tell him his...
Rick, listen, kid, I'm sorry. Your mother's dead.
Had to die. Interfered. Kill her.
I don't like this.
No. I beg you.
Fucking hell.
Mom. Mommy. Help.
Oh no. Oh no. Also, oh no.
Rick, talk to me. How'd this happen?
I heard their thoughts. Told them what to do.
Then we told him what to do. And
I don't think Rick is salvageable either way.
what he desired.
Because like, look at his ribs.
What do you want with this kid? What do you want from him?
His mind.
So he did lose his mind.
Strengthens. Come to us. Lie down. Surrender your
I don't like how he's telling me to lie down.
be stronger.
No fucking chance.
Correct. I need to turn my chair. Oh.
Oh, hey, I have Reader. What the fuck is that?
Well, welcome back. It's Rick. Don't worry about him. He's just a little.
You can still talk. I could get someone to come.
No.
He's a little special.
Yes. Summon them to us.
Oh no.
Shut the fuck up. Rick, I'll try to get you out of there.
Mom is dead, so he has nothing to live for. Yes. We're gonna tell him to close his eyes.
Close your eyes.
Hey, so there was a lot of zombies that we passed coming in, so... Oh, that's Rick? Oh yeah, that's Rick.
Fuck.
I wanted to know more about that.
Kyle? Kyle! Our telepathy's no longer jammed.
Yeah, it's whatever the
Not
fuck.
now. I gotta blow this all to hell.
Not now.
Later, I got company.
Please don't hit me while I'm doing this. Oh, you are not what I like to see. Ooh, gotta run away from you.
How's everyone doing today?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing wonderful. We're doing fine. Excuse me. That wasn't even. What? That's an explosive? Excuse me. Excuse me, pardon me. Crane is doing wonderful. Wonderful, I say. Wonderful. Plant the fucking thing! Oh, I did do rolls. I did do rolls. You did. Oh, fuck off. Nope. Okay, okay, clearing some zombies. Okay, okay, clear some zombies. Okay. Okay, clearing some zombies. Clearing some zombies. Don't worry, just clearing the zombies. Clearing some zombies. Just clearing some zombies. Clearing some zombies. I cleared some zombies. Whoa! Wow, we all right there. I missed one in there. Okay, going back. We gotta just clear some zombies. Oh, it's right there. Oh, it was where I cleared some zombies. I guess I was right. But yes, I did do rolls. If you want another roll, just let me know. You don't have to... Ow. Ow. You don't have to, redeem it again. I can just roll for you. Since, you know, your Twitch decided to be either you're allowed to talk or you're allowed to watch. Which is quite rude of it. Detonate. That was fucked up. Bro, that poor kid. I want to know more what happened there. I only have one choice. Blow it up. I'm not waiting. That was some fucked up shit in there. And I did not like that.
Fuck these dark, nasty, wet lung fucking tunnels.
Kyle, everything all right?
No.
I wouldn't go that far.
What happened?
Long story. I'll tell you in person.
Okay. I'm waiting for you.
Honestly, in this case, actually, Mr. Starchild, it really was a long time. That was one heck of a story. We're gonna pause right here. So I'm pretty sure I need that. So I'm gonna track this. I'm gonna back it up, actually. When I roll. Whoa, hey, get off of that. I'm gonna drive you right into that. Good luck. Get me out. Yeah, that's what I thought. No, no, Mr. Crane. I wanted you to go up. I hope that don't hurt me. Okay. let's see. Let me get up here. Get up here. I'm gonna run to the restroom, but I'll do your roll first because I'm gonna go get some more coffee. Let's just like stare off into the... That's got a nice view. Okay, let's see. 14, 14, and 1. Still sounds about right. Depression. But you're doing really good. You are here. We're having a great time and everything. Okay, I'm gonna have you guys watch Crane while I go... That's not Crane, hold on. That was Crane. While I go get some coffee. Oh, hey. They let me touch her tummy. Okay, I'm gonna go get more coffee and everything. Please take care. Please watch Crane. And please don't leave me. I'll be right back. Goodbye. Yeah, no. Oh my god. Sorry, my coffee is very warm and that felt very nice. I think you go right there. There we go. Okay. Oh, what a good song to come back to. With me sippers. It's cold, but it's also warm. It's a very odd mixture of temperatures recently. What did we get? Ooh. I think I might use that next. Should we go to sleep? Unfortunately. Let's like prep everything. A lot. That's appropriate amount. Wait until night. It's like doesn't even light? Holy shit, it's fucking dark. You know, before with the other day, I could see some stuff. I can't see anything. I don't even know how to get to. Do I have to do this at night? Cold, but it's warm? That isn't how things work, Sarah. It's cold in the house, but it's warm outside, but it's cold during the morning, but it's warm during the day. Unfortunately, California weather says so. You know, we're gonna wait till morning, actually. We're gonna go out there during the morning. I don't know if I need to be there at night. Yeah, okay, we're just gonna try to go there and see what happens. Oh, I have a car, too. Ow. Like, California weather would be very weird. But our cold isn't super cold. Put it. Excuse me? Can I fit through here? Hold on, where am I going? I need to go, like, off-roading over there. Oh, okay, hold on. Get off. There we go. Oh, I guess I just needed to go right here. It doesn't say anymore to drive. Oh, what an interesting song choice. Okay, I can't climb as fast as you, ma'am, so you gotta wait. She's like waiting in line to climb. No ankles. Okay, now we can calmly climb. That was not the button I needed to click. Whoa. Oh, can I climb up that tree? No, it's this right here. Puppies. God, why is it all the way up? I know this game is about parkour, but I don't want to. Why is it gonna be such intricate? Describing this game to somebody was quite funny to do. And I hope he understood what I meant. Because I try to describe it as in the least amount of words. Puppies. Are you there yet? Oh, Mochi got up. Mochi has arrived. Wahoo! Okay. And if I try to jump up and grab it, he's not going to do that. Unfortunately. Has anybody been watching any Christmas movies so far during the holidays? I've only caught a couple of them. Ooh. Because we've had them on at work.
Fucking volatile hive. I must be out of my goddamn mind.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Lydia, I'm in the cave, but I'm not seeing any volatiles.
You will soon. You just need to go deeper.
I just angered a lot of zombies, I won't lie. No lie. Oh. Well, that's a little unfair. Hey, your toe's about to fall off. Can I go further over there? Whoa. 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 Get off. Rude. Okay. Gonna be 100% honest, I don't like Christmas movies. Fair. Not even like any of the classic like Christmas movies. No, excuse me, dude. Truth be told, I like Halloween movies so much better, but I do eat up some good Christmas movies.
What are you doing here?
Oh. You got any notes? No? Oh. That's the Baron's men. Okay. Wahoo! Hey, my friend's playing Warhammer 40. 40k Space Marines. Ooh. Really? I dislike most holiday-themed movies. Fair. Understandable.
Another one of the Baron's twisted experiments.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Am I gonna fight another one already? He's invisible? Oh, Crane. Crane.
Where the hell did that thing go?
What do you mean? Oh my god. Ow. Ow. Oh my god, bro. I want to watch Polar. I do really want to watch Polar Express again. That is such a shitty, like... My god. Ow! Let me heal really quick. Ow! You still hit me! Oh my god. Whoa! Oh, wrong one. Oh, hold on, sir. Heal, Crane, heal. Oh, heal! Right there, right there, right there. Ow! Okay, okay, so he's almost dead. Whoa! Oh, my thing's almost dead! Oh! Yeah! Okay. This one's fucked up. Why is he just holding his leg? Why was he just holding his fucking leg up? Why was this bitch invisible? Anyways, Polar Express is really fun. I would like to go to the Polar Express experience. I did put in a job application for that, for costuming. Never heard anything back from that. But it seems quite fun. So there was one by me. I won't name where mine is. And by me, it's like a couple of cities over. But there's a couple of different places. Hold on, I will get distracted because of this. Because I do actually want to know. Because you're out. I love the Tokyo Drift edits of Polar Express. That's not what I expected to hear. But you're entirely right. I know what you're talking about. Express experience. Because there is a couple of places that have them. I watched so much horror. First time I saw the movie, I was like, sure, all these kids were dead. My mind goes, that's so funny. I think you need Chimera that have all of Crane's old powers. You can imagine a Chimera that just drop kicks the hell out of you. That'd be so fucking funny. I would be terrified of that. The train ride. I know what these experiences are, but like, what are the locations? The ride, schedule, and tickets? Click here to book. Okay, this is in Southern California. Okay, is it only Southern California? Let's see. I do. Okay, hold. That's not getting me any gallery contact because I think there's like 3 different places. This is Southern California, the Polar Express train ride. Is that this should be the hot chocolate. You do get hot chocolate on the train ride. Oh, there's a Grand Canyon one too. Let me try. So there's one in Southern California. There's one in Arizona. There was one in North Carolina, Colorado. Oh, what is this? Minnesota? Whistle. Yeah, so it has each, like, the Grand Canyon Railway, Southern California Railway Museum, North Carolina Transportation Museum, Colorado Railroad Museum, and then Steam Railroading Institute. It's me? I'm pretty sure that's Minnesota. I may be stupid. I'm gonna check for you. Hold on, I was a little stupid. Let me just do this. Because that's an interesting name that I've never heard for that city. Nope, sorry, it's Michigan. I'm like, it was an MI, and I'm like, you know, I don't actually know. Son of a, yeah, that's me being stupid. I don't really name those, places too often. Where the frick are you? Missouri. Actually, where the fuck are you? Iowa. Oh, you're up. Yeah. I mean, Michigan, actually, Michigan probably would be the actual closest one for you. I was raised there. Mochi looked up for me for a second. It would probably be 6 to 8. It would be an interesting time to get all the way over there. That would be, in fact, the closest one because it's in... I'm sorry, I'm gonna type out this city name and you're gonna see why I'm staring at it and trying not to say something. It's just, oh, I just see the eyes. I see the eyes staring at me. I see the little eyes. I see the little eyes staring, but that's the city that at least that Polar Express is in. But I literally, never heard of it. I just see yeah, Doc, I see the eyes staring at me. There has to be more. I wish they would do more, but like, the places have to inquire about it. So like there are more places that could host them. It's just they have to reach out to the rail events, inquire about it. Because it's a really fun event because the kids come in their pajamas and everything. Because it's just like, it's literally a nighttime event for this. And it's really cute. Right. I'm gonna do this one. So I only have like one chimera left that I probably need to kill. Oh yeah, my scythe. Repair. What is this song? This is about 3 hours from my hotel. That's so funny. Also, it's so funny. It's Polar Express that's playing right now. That's why I was getting war flashbacks. I was like, why does it sound like hot chocolate? That's so funny. You could go if you ever went back to your hometown. You could go and experience the hot chocolate. Hot chocolate. Have you ever seen the demonic hot chocolate video? Because that is my favorite one. There was also recently Coco had sent it to me, and it was a hot chocolate JJK edit. So they used the song for a JJK edit. Very funny. I actually really loved it. We should all go to a Polar Express experience together. For me to my... Where am I going? This way. We'll just play it safe. 8 hours for me to my hometown. You have a fucking long ass drive. Sorry. The way this man in this song, like, he's so enthusiastic. Like, his character's so enthusiastic about everything that he's screaming about it. No wonder they made a demonic version of hot chocolate.
I guess I'm gonna have to get wet. Whee! That's just great.
Some people wouldn't be upset about that, Crane. Wahoo! Express. And the hive's in the cave. I still haven't found the hive. That was just a sidetrack mission. Okay, I guess I'm gonna turn off sickle. I don't think I like that. Crazy enough to work. Okay, hear me out. We should all get together, sit in couches wrapped up in blankets and hot cocoa all around the fireplace telling stories. Yes. I would, out of memories of old camp stories and going to camp myself as a Girl Scout, I would propose we should all sit around a campfire and tell stories. Good and, like, happy stories and scary stories. But unfortunately now, with a lot of, scary videos that I've watched, a lot of stories I've heard about the Appalachian forest and other things, I no longer wish to be in a forest, even though I love them. Also, yeah, it is too cold for a campfire. You're entirely... Well, okay, if you come here, it's not too cold. I feel like temperature here is just, like, just right, where it's really chilly, but you layer up. Over there, no. They are quite fun. I do actually love their stories. But now I no longer wish to be in the forest. I have thought about every once in a while, just suddenly, becoming a Firewatch person. Never in my life will I ever do that. If I do that, please check in on me. Something is wrong. Yeah, I saw one girl's video and it gives me the heebie-jeebies, but it's also slightly funny to me. Some of, like, the ones that pretend to be you. Why do they always stare at the wall? I guess they can't mimic your face. Maybe they're too nervous to show it because they're like, I don't know if I got your features right. I don't want to make you feel bad. I may have got your features wrong. I don't know if you got your eyes the right color or shade. I try to find hee-hee-ha-has of this because it's quite creepy. But, like, are they just too nervous to turn around? What you just described as simple bonfire in Michigan? Simple what you be mother? I like this song a lot. I don't want to unpause this. I don't want to go into this cave. Ouchie, my ankles. I stole a man's jewelry. Am I shoving it up his butt? I literally shoved it up his butt, bro.
One down, 2 more to go.
I literally shoved it up his butt. I can't even say hee hee ha ha about that. Literally, Crane shoved that up his... Sitting around a campfire telling stories, that's just a bonfire event. Fair, fair. They're shy. Yeah, they're just a little bit shy. But like, are they just too scared that they got our features wrong? Sorry, I'm locked in. Like, yeah, what's wrong with those silly little guys? But yeah, that girly, that one video I'm thinking about, that's the shit was right by her, and I'm like, girly. And then somebody also gave her shit, fair shit, because she didn't have her like car keys on her. Not me gulping. I gulped a little bit, like, don't turn around. Ew, I'm sorry, little guy. I don't mean to shove it up your butt.
Time to go.
Oh! Oh! That one's a little bit bigger.
Fuck!
That man's a lot bigger than the rest!
Oh shit, here we go again.
Oh, no cap, don't lie. That man was No cap, don't lie. That man was so much bigger than the rest of them. Get off of me! What the fuck is that noise? Stop it! Get up, Crane. Oh, I didn't get the speed boost. Okay, speed boost. Sorry, locking in. I didn't get the speed boost. You cannot throw me through a cutscene like that. I thought I just got snatched by the legs. Okay.
That was fucking nuts.
Anyways. Yeah, that was fucking nuts, Mr. Kyle Crane. I don't know what it was, but depending on what it is, I'll allow you to shove it up. But I mean...
better be worth the fucking trouble.
Kyle's talking.
Yeah. All 3 samples.
Thank you, Kyle. Hurry back.
You know, all jokes and hee-hee-haws, I got their booty juice. I got their booty juice. Getting too old for this shit. Mr. Kyle Crane is literally getting too old for this shit. He needs to rest, but everybody keeps on having him do stuff. Wahoo! That's gonna hurt. It didn't. Not too good. Where am I going? Okay. Okay, stop pressing 7 after seeing Mia's video. Okay. Is it unfortunately that awful time called work? I'm Spider-Man! Ow. I hit the floor. Oh, he's eating good. Sorry, I won't disturb y'all. You be eating good. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Did you finish all of Mia's video? Can't believe she made me go into that. That was the worst experience of my life. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow. So, I was just on that man's head, sorry. Man. I was just joking. Yeah, the shipwreck and all. Okay, fair, fair, fair. Okay, you're almost done. Are you gonna play Chris Redfield's add-on story afterwards? You should. It's fun. Or the uncle.
Great job. Let's hope Camilo's hypothesis is correct.
Come here, Mochi.
Yeah. given everything I had to do to get these.
Ooh, you're nice and toasty.
I trust him.
You want to smell
With
it?
his vast understanding of the human nervous
Yeah,
system.
it smells very strong.
If anyone
doesn't
can
it?
figure out how to enhance our abilities, it's him.
So, what now?
Once Camila has something, I'll reach out to you. In the meantime, the young woman who manages our supplies was asking for you. Her name is Jenna. Go talk to her if you can.
I already talked to her. She has me on a mission. Hey, what happened to your friend here?
Olivia, I got another sample. Found it in the caves.
Meow, meow, meow.
Wow. I didn't know about that one.
I didn't either, bro.
My turn.
Hi.
I found more information in those files. Meet me near the wastewater treatment plant.
You hunting monsters again?
Did it catch up?
I'm getting pretty good at it.
No, just
Excuse
be
you.
careful, okay? I'm on my way.
Oh, hi. She has a kiss mark on her forehead now. Okay, gonna give you a chance to catch up, bitch ass. Oh, play the stories. You don't understand how fast I can get through Village. The longest part of Village is Heisenberg's factory. That shit doesn't fucking end, but I'm playing them on normal, so it's gonna be relatively easy. I should be able to do 2 bosses in one go. The hardest part about 7 and 8 are the gauntlet fights. So the first, and Mia's fight was the hardest thing to do on hardcore. Because she just takes so long to beat. Meow, 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 meow. Oh yeah, I need to talk to Starchild. And the same with Village. The hardest thing was just outliving the lichens. They just didn't stop, but now I know how to, so it's relatively easy.
What matters is now.
Which one of Mia? The first one, the very first fight. They both happen for Village and 7. They both happen at the very start. So Mia, it's Mia's first fight after you lose your hand, and for Village, it is you enter the village, and the lichens descend on you. Do that in seconds on hard. Have you played on hardcore? Because of the like original fight is perfectly fine. Even the gauntlet in Village, super easy. Not on hardcore. Hardcore just makes you have a lot less ammo and you take a lot more damage from it. So you really have to like hit your shots and not miss a single thing. So I struggled with it for hardcore. I finally got it, but like, yeah. This time playing the game, I accidentally picked the bad ending. Fair. Just ask her. Did you play it on hardcore?
It right in
I play those games so much, but that's still the gauntlet fight for Village wasn't hard.
Hey,
you just have to last so much longer, and you do take a lot more damage.
I found something, that's for sure.
Meaning?
Rick was doing some kind of research on the infected. The kid was trying to influence them with his mind, control them.
Fair.
Did it work?
I'm curious to play it on hardcore again, but I don't think I want to because I just want to get through the game. Because the rest of the fights aren't. Jack's first fight sometimes is tricky. It's not hard, but if you get in the car faster, you can end it faster. I hate the mom's fight. I hate the mom's fight.
Tell me why they split from you
And
guys.
that's just because I don't like her.
Right.
I love her,
You see,
but I hate how she
We
looks.
fled the Baron together. Then the
I don't
basement
like how she
situation
looks.
came up. Emma and Rick didn't want our friends going down there. They just couldn't understand. They thought those going down were giving up. Instead,
Sorry, I locked
they
into the
wanted us
story.
to turn back and fight the Baron. Their anger consumed them. They kept arguing with us till Lydia decided they were a bad influence. And so we split up. But what about Rick? What about his attempts to control the infected? Did it work?
I know about that one. I was annoyed by her fight. I need to learn the speedrun for that if I decide to do it again. You just need to find the weak point of her, really. Because I'm pretty sure her butt is not her weak point. I think I remember hearing that in a video I was just watching. I'm trying to remember because he had said something about it, but I didn't pay attention to it because I watched those videos on the side. But also, manner of speaking.
In a manner of speaking, yeah.
Go do that one.
Can you be clearer, man?
Yeah,
It was the infected who took control of him. He tried to influence them, but then they began to influence him instead. Looks like they messed up his mind, then his body too. Merged together into some kind of deformed, freakish entity.
Can confirm.
And that's what was blocking our mind waves.
Yes.
And using Rick's mind like a fucking amplifier or something, signaling other infected. Trying to lure me on purpose.
Wild shit. Never imagined something like that was possible. What about Rick?
Yeah, he's dead. Hello.
He could no longer be helped.
You sure?
What is her name? It's like Marguerite.
If you'd been there yourself.
The mother. Her fight is really fun because she's a true like horror fight.
Easy, man.
I hate.
Just trying to understand what exactly went down. Incredible what that kid was able to accomplish.
I hate Lydia Jack's like final fight just because that bitch is so big. What the fuck?
Findings.
That's not possible.
Kyle.
He's easy to fight. He's just a big bitch, bro.
I blew the tunnel to hell.
Bloody hell, man. Why?
That was Lennon.
Why'd I do it?
We would have been careful.
Not as careful as I was.
Hi,
Look, Kyle, Lydia won't just let this slide.
You know, if her head's on straight, she will. I gotta go.
I'll tell her myself, bitch. I like Star Child, but you're kind of being a little bitch about that. You should not be controlling those types of things. Did I get C4? Oh, Mochi, we can explode things. What was your favorite fight so far? Because you do still have... There's one more annoying fight if you're at that part that I really fucking hate. It's just one of those, like, when you have to get out type of fights. I really despise it. Because I hate the really big... What happened here?
Finally, a human face.
Iris,
She's gone. To a better place, I hope.
I'm sorry, Amelia.
Aww.
Thank you again.
I didn't see that there last time. Okay. That's the area entrance. Okay, that's just that.
Escape, destruction, or combat.
I'm sad because I think I kind of want to play. I'll see how I feel about it. Oh my god, I still need to beat Mother Miranda's fight on Madhouse. I still have not beaten that fight, but that shit's so hard because she like one-shots if you mess up her patterns. Ooh. Side quest. Yeah, we'll do that one. If you... Oh, I was messing up so many of her like hits. I think I got her to her second phase and I think she has like 3. I don't remember. Hello, random humans.
Don't mess with me.
I'd really like to hit that. Where did I hit that to? Fuck you. No legs. Yeah, get him. Wow. Wow. Wahoo. Oh, I chopped off his arm. Yeah, Mochi, we murdered. Did I kill the other guys? Oh, well, he's dead. Just like the mother fight in 7. Yeah. I can agree with that. I think... I will say, I think I hate Jack's second fight more. I don't want to say too much since we haven't taken Kai there, but I think I don't like that one too much because it is such close quarters that I'm like, okay, I would like a little bit more space. But her fight is definitely more annoying. I don't have enough space, eh? Let's see. finding a lot of guns, and they were not worth a lot of money. So I'm just gonna get some gun parts out of them. I guess I should have sold some things. This recent playthrough, I had to hit her twice with my knife to kill her. Fair. I do remember a couple of times when I've played, I did run out of ammo. I'm trying to like, I was watching some videos because I just love watching Resident Evil videos. So I watch a lot of people doing challenge playthroughs. What the fuck was I gonna say about that?
This ought to be that house.
Oh, but
Jenna
I
mentioned.
be like plotting my like plans for how I'm gonna do stuff for that game. Just so I can make sure I get us everything, but also get us through as fast as we can. Meow, 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 meow. Is there anything up here? Nope. Okay. Slice. Slice. Second fight wasn't bad. I just like the one... Ow. Just like the 1 weak spot on his belly. Fair, fair, fair. That one's not too bad. I love his first fight, mainly because of the iconicness of it. I won't say. His last fight, like I said earlier, I just hate that one a lot, but because he's such a big bitch, I'm just like, why? Can you stop? At that point, it's really just the, can you please stop? Oh, I don't know where his bottom half was. At that point, I'm tired of his shenanigans, and I want him to leave. But he won't. I do hate that annoying little whiny ass bitch. And we know who I'm talking about, and if you don't, it's okay. We will show you. Locked from the inside. Okay. So I need to break in. Wow. Wow. Oh, actually, can I go through here? Hell yeah. Hell no. Making my way downtown. I am so excited. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it did. Everything broke in that moment. I am very excited for the fights in Village. Because the fights in Village, I love them. They're really good fights, but they're really easy. That's my only beef with them, is that they're really easy. Besides Mother Miranda's, just because she has so many like phases. Don't fall, don't fall. Like, they're relatively really easy. I still remember the first time I played it, I was like, oh, okay, we're just breezing through this. How the freak do I get in? Can I get in through here? Locked from inside. Tell me the secrets, sir. Ow. Whoa. You're a bitch. I chopped off her ankles.
Tire tracks. Ron and Anna had a vehicle?
I want in. Oh, I didn't hit it fast enough. Okay. Cleared them up. Oh, there we go, that window. Oh. Let me into this window, please. He's fucking hacking up a lung over there. Hi, Archie. Why are you looking up at me? You know you have a lot of crumbs. Why has you got a little black on your tooth? Oh. Okay, let me not spaz this out. I need to get in here. Oh, that was not the graceful way that I wanted to do that. Hello? Oh. Didn't think I could actually shove my face through the floral there, but that's fine. There wasn't a way. Oh, I can go through this. I didn't realize this was an actual door. Hi, wife. I love you, wife. I love my wife, Johnny. I love my wife. Mochi, Mochi, wife's here, Mochi. Yeah, she's here. Mochi says hello. Mochi says wee wee wee, wee wee wee. Oh. And there she goes. There she goes. Cookies? Mochi! Mochi! Mochi, she loves you! I love my wife, Charlie. I love my wife! Can't wait to get the Lady D. Gotta go use that flies water. Yes. Oh my god, should we download mods for Village? I don't know if, I mean... Oh my god, I don't think he's actually here. I don't know. Or if, I don't know if he has the sound on. I'm like, should we actually download mods for Village and scare our little bear? I need it. I love my wife's ad. We do! I should record an audio. I should record an audio and make it the, I love my wife, Charlie! I love my wife!
IV drip, vitamins, folic acid. What was all this for?
Cats. Oh my god. Are you
Kyle,
here with us?
are you with us here today?
Is the bear in the room with us? The little babies. That was a pirate. It's a little pirate. But no mods of fly swatter would be really funny. Oh! Newspaper. Is this about the Fisher family denies involvement in Jonathan Jameson murder? Oh, this is about that one murder. I don't feel like reading it all. I do remember getting some of the stuff for that. But I need I love my wife. I love my wife, Charlie. I need that audio. I really hope that somebody tried to connect with a distress call and just heard that. Meow, 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 meow. Oh. 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 Oh, you... Okay, she's cleaning her toes. She's trying to lifting up her foot, but I didn't know where she was going to place it. Mass Effect, gotta go and... Yeah. I think for me, it's just like, I've played this so many times. I've never modded it, though. I have learned about modding, though. And I say that because we tried to mod, the Restaurants. We did then get scared. Tripsy told I was a little scared, but I said, man, I'm just gonna put it there, but... We did decide not to do it. We don't want our information compromised. But I did learn how to mod through that. And I learned the little things from that. So thank you, Restaurants, for teaching me. And by that, following everybody's instructions. Following Alex's instruction of how to... Oh, more kitties! Kitty, kitty, kitties. Kitty, kitty, kitties. No worry, bud. Have a safe trip and everything. I hope you're enjoying your trip and everything. Restaurants wanted my shit. They wanted your shit. I really shouldn't have downloaded it, but I said, okay, I guess we're doing this. If anything happens, I'm blaming the man.
Definitely treated this place like a second home.
I think they were sick.
Magnesium, iron.
Did they have cancer? Vitamin. I do need vitamin D. Meow, 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 meow. Ooh. This place is very... That's a shit ton of garlic. What are water bottles? That was a shit ton of garlic. Okay, okay. Mass Effect can be a pain. That's fair. I won't deny that because it does sound like a pain. Give me that. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me just... I don't want any infected in here. Who's fight? Yeah, I can't, like...
Maps, flares, equipment.
Those are fucking huge. Oh. There's the coordinates.
Did you find Ron and Anna?
Not yet. Found some coordinates at their hideout, though.
Did find some looting.
Ah, one moment. There. I've got a map in front of me. Read them.
52, 256, and 2099-3.
How long have you been streaming?
What?
The train station on the other side of the river. It's used by the Baron's guards.
Well, there's no sign of a struggle here, though.
I don't follow.
Well, I think they went there willingly. Something's off. I'll go check it out.
Keep me posted.
Why are we face toasted
No
away?
more of this mind penetration, okay? You'll hear from me by radio.
Okay.
Why'd he say
As you
mind
wish.
penetration? Sure, you could have worded it a little differently. Bakery? 2-story house near the ruined diner? Okay, so that's by a diner. What's to say? And I will disappear for a few days while I try to make contact with them. In the meantime, if you feel up to it, try looting location B2. I have marked it on the map for you. Whatever you find there could be farewell delivery. Once I sort everything out, I will come back for you. Love R. Oh, yeah. Hey, so I agree with Crane. This is a little suspicious. I really want a mod. Oh my god, no, that's what I want to do. There is a mod for Resident Evil 4 that is a randomizer, and I really want to do that. Oh, excuse me. No ankles. I really want to do the randomizing mods. I have one for the first game, but the first game is very difficult where it can soft lock you. I suppose the fourth one could too, but at least it would be new mechanisms and new... Calm down, Mr. Kyle Crane. Get me off of the fucking floor, bro. That man's about to bust. Ooh, what's in here? Let me in. Okay, so... Oh no. Mr. Kyle Crane. There we go. I just want to climb to the top of this building so I can look. Yes. Can I climb further? You can stand on that little ball, sir. Okay, he can't. So we're going... Oh my god, we're going so far. Some of those, and they're crazy. I love the randomizers so much. I live for randomizers and the challenges. I would really like, if you actually want a challenge, Kev, first you do have to play through normal village, but you can get to the Village of Shadows level, and that is fucking hard. The hard part is I don't think the boss fights would be hard, because even on, I think it would just be hard. Because I think it's hardcore. Or nightmare. I don't remember what it is for those ones. The bosses still aren't that bad. A little bit more difficult. You need to have... What Korean song am I listening to? NCT Dream! Sorry, NCT Dream. You just have to make sure you have a lot of ammo and health if you do get hit a lot. But the hardest part of that is that stupid first interaction you have. Because if you do Village of Shadows, the enemies, of course, have more health. So it is really hard to beat it on that first zombie you have to murder. Simply because he takes so much health. And you have to hit your shots perfectly with some other added hits. That New Game Plus is the easiest way to beat Village of Shadows because then you have your weapons and whatnot, so it's easier to do. Oh, the man's dying!
Hello? Time's up, asshole.
Climb faster, my dude.
Eat this!
Ow. Bonk. Bonk. You. Bonk. Bonk. Give me your money. Oh, no, give me your money. Okay, he almost didn't give me the money. He's just trying to walk away. I'm good. It's so much fun though. The hardest thing about Village of Shadows that I haven't been, that I was saying, is the stupid Mother Miranda fight, because she has so many phases. And it's just like an Elden Ring boss. So you really just have to learn her moves, but it had been so long since I'd played it that I didn't know her moves. And if you miss one, you're fucking done for. So I have not beaten that. But I would like to do it without New Game Plus. I think that would be really fun. Ow. Fuck off. I'm trying to enjoy my time walking through these ruins. How fucking dare you? Speak of the temple. They're just playing Elden Ring. So funny. That zombie provided me nothing. How dare he? One of these ruins does hold goodies. I don't think it's this one. Oh, there it is. What do I want to read? Oh, order for Sergeant. Okay. Towards Neville, I need to get through Cloud Obscure 33 and Divinity Original Sin. Fair. Hot, hot, hot. We got it. Hot chocolate. I do need to play Claire Obscure. I do want to see if they have a Game of the Year edition. And or I probably will just wait for the final sale of this year and buy it then. But I don't know if I want to stream that game or not. I have a harder time if I don't stream the game. I don't finish the game. Like, I haven't finished Indiana Jones. But I do play that every once in a while in, like, chunks. But I think because I have so many games, and then when I don't play games on stream, I'm usually playing co-op games with friends. So then it's extra hard because then usually I spend that time playing co-op games. Hehehe. Supposed to meet the pricks who have been distributing fake crystals to my men. I know you've been in touch with these two, Ibra and Stones. Meet them the last time for poker. Then, like last time for poker, you'll gamble, talk some bullshit, and then the squad will come in and they'll be busted. You are to personally carry out the sentence on these scumbags. After the execution, report to the commander of the investigation unit. He'll give you a something special from me. Ooh. Ow. Oh my god. Oh my god, what's happening? Why is there so many people? Okay. Personal favorite by me. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's so fun. Bonk. Who wants a special? You? You do. Yeah! I didn't mean to explode you. Ma'am, put on some clothes. Bonk. Oh, one more. Okay. Perfect. Clip scare after Kingdom Hearts. It's gonna take us so long to finish Kingdom Hearts. I got too many games on this fucking list because I won't lie, I need to play Control. And as much as I really want to play Kingdom Hearts, I want to play Control. Control definitely is shorter in terms of Kingdom Hearts. And I say that lovingly, mainly because I know we need to play through all of Kingdom Hearts. And that's the only... Oh! I didn't mean to do that. Play Control. I really want to play Control. I've been meaning to play Control. I am still trying to finish my Alan Wake playthrough because after I finish it on stream, there is... Oh, do they... Oh, are these the graves of the people? They have them marked with little playing cards. Can I take them up? Is that a zombie? What's right here? Oh, body. Wait, no. Wait, no, what? Oh. That's a body. They didn't finish that, play Alan Wake. I've finished Alan Wake, but I like that. Play Alan Wake, then Control, then Kingdom Hearts, then Claire. We have like the whole year planned out at that point. Meow, 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 meow. Can you move out of the way? Please move. So he's dead. You were selling fake crystals, I see. Oh yeah, there's his little card. That's really cute. That's cool. Okay, anyways. Let me go here. Oh, goodbye, Kev. Join us back at work. Maybe. If I'm still alive. Sometimes I'm not still alive. I kind of want to go to the school. It seems like something's cool there. I do really want to play Claire. I really want to play it. My friend really wants to play it too, which is why I'm like, no, you don't buy it. I will buy it because I've been actively wanting to buy it since May. I just haven't had time. What's over here? But I really want to play it. Oh, it's just a bike path. Okay, onward to the other part. You also gonna play? Yes, I do. We gotta get to that one eventually. I'm like, we always have farm, which is fine. Truth be told, by February, end of February, we'll be done with Resident Evil, which is hard to say because I won't lie, maybe we pick up another Resident Evil series. Because that is what takes up a lot of time. We're only playing through one series and farm right now because we're playing through all of Resident Evil again. No complaints about that at all. Oh, our little Kai didn't respond, so the bear is not in the room with us. Okay, it would be really fun to mod it. Where the frick is this? These things that I want. But we gotta do that, because I think from Village, I should be able to beat it in time to play straight to Requiem. I don't think I'll do the Daughters, Rose's side story. There's not much to it. So I'll probably just tell Kai the information for that. I'll probably play that eventually. I do really want to play that DLC again. It's been a minute. Oh, this is the school. Let's go in here. Where are those little kid zombies? What was that noise?
Subject Alpha inside.
Oh!
Target inside.
It's this place. Oh, I forgot we have been here. I did kind of just run in here. Because I was scared. And we're gonna run right back out. Excuse me. Excuse me, pardon me. Excuse me, pardon me. Don't worry about me, I'm just running. Just doing my steps for the day. There was... Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Woo! Okay, so we don't like the school. The school is kind of an evil place. I forget where, but... somewhere here, I believe... Oh, didn't mean to do that. Was those... It's probably somewhere here. What's this one? What the fuck's she all the way up there? Okay, so I'm gonna go back over there, but we're gonna do this one because that's very far. Somewhere over here was the fucking ruins that has goodies. But I don't know where it is. I don't really feel like solving it. We're gonna stay on point. Gotta do another Mass Effect on Monday. Just this time not gonna help, except maybe Samara loyalty. Real as hell for just like, maybe just for her. And that's understandable. She's so pretty. She's so hot. Also, I don't think we'll do an extra long stream today. I think I might just do normal because I have things to get done today. Which is very sad. But that's okay. Actually, I don't know, maybe. I do have things to do, though. Okay, whoa. Fuck all y'all. How rude of them. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Which body do I have to search? Okay, I'm getting tired of them. You saw me put that on? You're stupid. You didn't. He's not stupid. He was in fact a very smart zombie. There he was. There he was. My little fellas that I killed. What other games do we have on our list to play? Pentatonic's Christmas music does kind of get hard. I concur. Oh my god, we need to play Routine. That's the one I need to play because that's the one that was compared to Alien Isolation. So I really do need to play that. I need to edit. Stupid Outlast Trials having a new update. I love them dearly, but damn, I played the... Oh my god, I found a secret in that game. And I did actually get the secret. It was, in fact, a secret, secret skin. It's actually kind of really cool, so I'll have to show it off next time. Apparently, there's a lot of other secrets and unmarked locations on maps, and I'm like, oh, maybe I have to...
No! Stop! I beg you!
Oh.
Damn, I hope that's not Ron.
Where's the train station? Oh, here? What a thing to hear. Hey, how do I get into here? Where's the entrance? Entrance A, please let me in. I might have just passed it. Oh, actually it makes sense to be on this side. Not for you.
No!
Shit, I better hurry.
Better hurry?
Set the fire! Hey, crane's on the move. I'm watching you.
Oh my god! Where is he?
No!
Shit, I better hurry.
Yeah, don't worry. I just killed everybody. Where the fuck is he? This is not what I need to be looking at. Cell tower is starting to go offline, so I'm leaving you a note instead. Take the food jars from Mom and then head over to the store and buy anything that could come useful. Authorities say we should stock up for... Oh. Get the package from the parcel locker? Oh. Oh. Just jam it out to the music. Did you kill him?
Talk, damn it! Give me the look.
Hey, you good?
Gotta stop the bleeding. Now hang in there.
That's a really bad wound.
Where's Anna?
I don't know.
I don't know. Listen, I gotta stop the...
Anna! Save her!
No, Ron, listen. This ain't good. I can't stop the bleeding.
Tell her I'm sorry.
Okay. I will. Ron, why did you two come here?
To contact the Baron.
How about you?
Help.
Why are we interacting with
help.
sad stories
Doesn't
today?
matter no more. Just find Anna.
I will, Ron. I will.
Is she gonna die?
Wait, what?
Your name. Wanted to thank you.
My name's Kyle.
Why do we keep inviting dead people?
You get her fucking lover boy to talk yet? Come in, over.
I read you loud and clear, Sarge. Still working on it.
Well, hurry the fuck up. We're stranded here with the chick.
You stranded?
Yes, stranded. Ran out of gas. Now we're waiting for a refuel at the art gallery.
I'll see you soon, asshole.
The fuck did you just say to me? Hey!
Crane, you know, they might kill her now because you said shit. Anyways, I'm gonna loot this place. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I just met him. Why do I keep on losing people? Oh my god. Okay. Well, I'll take your goodies. No, I won't. Just kidding. It's phased into the floor. We'll take that, though. Winner, winner, land. I am very excited. I'm taking everybody to Disneyland tomorrow, and I'm so excited. Whee! I do need to message B. I need to figure out, yo, bro, I've had like a month or so to figure out an entire outfit for this day for Disney. I haven't figured out the outfit for Disney. I have not. It's tomorrow. We leave in the morning. Did not figure that out at all. The parcel. Can I go in here? Open. I honestly say, short stream today kind of sounds good. Oh my god, Crane. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Pick up all my little snack packets because I ran in there so fast. I didn't actually because I feel like I could have gone faster and then he wouldn't have died. But, too late for that. He's dead. Let me actually read this. From the parcel locker. At least I'll have the code. I don't know where the locker would be. No, Crane, climb up. I'll fight you, dumbass. It's a hardware store. Where's the art gallery? Oh. We're gonna take this outer road. And we're just gonna run. We're gonna fucking run for it.
I got bad news. Ron's dead.
Fuck. The Baron's guards?
Yeah, they tried to get him to give up the location of the cave.
Oh, hi, Mochi.
No, but they still have Anna. And I'm on my way to her now.
Okay. Good luck, Kyle.
Literally running my way there right now. Oh, you broke that, bro. How dare you? Do I have the right? Excuse me, sirs. Excuse me, sirs. Whoa! Okay, that was quite rude of you. Why were you in a bush? Scare the shit out of me. Okay, so how is she... I'm at the art gallery. Isn't it the front door? Okay, fuck up. Everybody, I need to save a woman. I'm gonna lose my shit. Please. Back the fuck up. Oh my god, if I get freaking hit one more time by your dumb zombies. Who hit me? Anyways, everything's perfectly fine. Can I go through this door? No. Okay. I have so many drinks. I to go through that door, but I fucking murdered all those zombies. How do we get in? How do we do this, Crane? Excuse me. You guys are bitches. Oh no, I need a sneeze. I see. Oh my god. Window.
Stand down, or else.
You didn't see anything.
See what you got.
Oh my god. Dude, I fucking love this scythe. I have a lot of things to sell. I guess I can turn my light on. Is she in here? Oh, she is. Oh.
Oh, shit.
She dead.
Don't come closer.
Oh, good.
Anna, it's okay. You're safe now. It's all right. Ron sent me.
Where is he?
Anna, I don't know how to say this. He.
No. Did you see him before he?
I did.
This is
I wanted
so
me to tell
sad.
you he was sorry.
Grappling hook? How we missed the one in the original? Dude, I can agree.
He's left us.
Where's his Berganante?
Us? You're pregnant.
Yes.
I keep on running into really sad stories today. What the fuck? Anyways. Serpent, I agree. I don't mind this grapple hook, but it's not the same as the first one. The original grappling hook was so good. How they all came around the corner in a straight line. They were organized. They knew what was up. They're like, okay, we're going in a line. First come, first serve.
You tried to get the bear.
I don't think I have questions about the baby, really. That's fine.
We underestimated just how selfish and ruthless his men are.
Aww.
And Ron paid the price.
I had a lot of medical supplies. I could have saved him. I'm not gonna ask about the baby.
What made you think the Baron would have helped you?
After 28 years later, you know, anything could happen.
Up in a cave.
And you thought a lab would be better?
Was surrounded by nothing but death.
Is this like
Who else could have guaranteed our safety?
You know what cost? I won't second guess you. I'm gonna second guess you.
Safety can come with a catch, though.
Don't have a kid, do you?
Does it matter?
Doesn't matter, of course it does. Were we to hide in forests? Huddle inside caves? The cold, the dampness, without medicine, drenched in fear?
Yeah.
Okay, look, I get it. You made a tough call.
Mochi, we gotta hide
What
it.
do you
Oh,
do
thank
now?
you.
Do I
Slap
have
me in the
an
face.
option? I'll rest. Then I'll return to
The cave literally isn't that
Makes
bad.
sense.
Now go. I want to be alone.
I'm like, that baby would have
I
been
understand.
turned into a science experiment if they went to the
Goodbye, Anna.
Baron. So I think you're kind of stupid, but I get your necessities. And you want safety. But like, I think you would have turned into a science experiment. I won't lie. Is there anything else goody in here? Goody? Goods?
Kyle, how's Anna?
She's alive.
Woo!
What condition is she in?
Better if she tells you herself.
Oh, all right.
Jenna, she needs you now more than ever. Take care of her.
You can count on me. See you back here.
Wahoo! Oh my god, that felt like Mario. Okay. What time is it? I guess we'll wrap up stream. I hate doing a short stream because I'm so used to doing longer streams now, but I do have stuff to get done. Oh, holy shit. Do we have any other... Oh, we have no other side quests right now. I kind of want to check in with the people at the... Let's check in with them before I leave, because I haven't gone over here in a while. I don't think they'll have anything for me to do, but might as well check. Excuse me. Bob and we. bop, and weave. If I go around here, I should be able to get there. There's also, I believe, a house we can find with loot. I'm like, I have gotten used to the grappling hook a little bit in this. And sometimes I get good momentum, but sometimes it's just shit, and I don't know what the frick I'm doing. Oh, we're going over here. Yeah, because that, maybe it's on that side. Oh. Nothing will compare to that forest grappling hook. That shit was so good. Oh! I think I just hit a zombie in the face. I think I just hit that poor zombie in the face. I did not mean to do that. I'm so sorry, sir. You were a drive-by. Okay. Hello. Sell valuables. These aren't that good, but he does upgrade his weapons. Let's sell some things. Sell that. Don't really want the machete, but it is kind of good. Probably should use it sometimes. Oh my god, is that the pistol we took? Oop. I'm gonna use this till it dies because we have only one repair left, and then I'll switch to that one. I'm really interested in that. I'm gonna sell this one. I'll sell that one. I want to find another scythe.
Electricity.
Hi, client.
Civilization.
We gotta fucking run.
There he is.
How did I check the time again? Is it caps lock? Nope. It's not caps lock. Collapse? N? Okay, we still have time. Let me take a little look-see. This collection. Treasure hunts. There's that one. That's the one I was trying to find. At the edge of the old wheat field, grows some ruins, a well-hidden hatch that leads down to a basement. Looks like it's concealed and secretly recently. Worth it. That's the one. Okay, so we need to find the wheat farm. Wheat Thims. Wheat Thims? Those are all by the farm. Sounded like several blasts. I pinpointed the noise to the old ruin nearby. But I heard a scream at once because it sounded like... The sound of the rain. Oh, I feel like that one's the one where we found all the dead bodies. Ah, thank you for the hug. Thank you. I give you a little smooch on forehead. And then I continue to run because, oh, not what I wanted. Where is the wheat farm? That's a train station. I think that's a tennis court. This is where, I think I'm gonna head to that one. Oh, maybe it's over here. Can I go to that castle? I haven't really tried to go over here. This seems really freaking cool. I want to go to a castle. I don't know if I can go to a castle. I don't think I can. Because it's like the dot. Wait, no, because I can go up here. Christmas is just a week away. Just a week away. That fucking audio is always stuck in my head. I'm gonna have to message Autumn and be like, Autumn, you've ruined my brain. Why does the game look smoother? What? Crane. You're not as smooth as you used to be. You're getting old. The sun is really bright. This is just like real life. The am I okay? I meant to say the astigmatism is hidden, but I think I stuttered and it says astigmatism. That's all that came out of my mouth. The syllables were not enunciated. I can't see where I'm going, bro. This is like driving at night. I can't see. Oh, I'm too far in the sky. Okay. Somebody needs help. I can't see. It's too bright. Crane, stop looking at that. We need to get across. Okay, no. We gotta go this way. I want to get to that. We should be able to make it there in time. I sure hope so. Excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah, it should be right across there. And there should... Oh, I've been to that house already. Oh, well, fuck. Hold on. We've already looted that house. I remember that. I guess we're just gonna go right here. And we're gonna sleep, and then we'll walk. We'll do that. We'll do that. Why can't the zombie swim? Oh, I'm stuck under this. Oh, why can't I swim? My dad just opened up the door and looked at me and then closed it, but the way that Mochi looked like... What? Mochi was more concerned. Can I sleep in here? No. Okay. We're going up in the tower, I guess. Up as we go. The safest area. Up in the sky. What time is it? I want to get us to at least the next location. I like how there's always resources here, and I imagine that it's somebody dropping off stuff because they're using this as a safe house, and then I come in and just collect their stuff, and then they come back and they're like, where the hell did all my stuff go? Who took my shit? I should have done the wait for the next day. Yippee! Okay, while he's waking up. Where? Nope. That's the village. Move it over there, so it has to be like over here somewhere. It's like the swampy one, so I think here. I'm gonna ping that one. Let's fly. Damn, you can't fly. Oh, I really don't want to swim across the water. Too bad. We're swimming. I'm gonna get us over there. And then I think we will end stream. Nice little short one today. I miss the old grapple hook. I'm glad I'm not the only one who said that. It makes me feel validated. So it's like, it can't be that different. It does feel very different. Also, I have nothing to swing on. Where am I going that way? What Christmas song is this? Oh, God. That was awful. Excuse me. Okay, so we're looking for the wheat field. So we can find the ruins. I'm pretty sure it was by the swamp area and one of the safe houses over here. Nap was great? Fuck yeah. Glad you immediately said your nap was great, because that's important. That's very good. It's going well. I'm about to end in a moment. Once I figure out where I'm going. Do a short stream so I can get some stuff done today since I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow. I don't have a fit planned at all, but it's been going well. We ran into like 2 sad stories, which I adore. I adore the sad stories in this game because it just brings like, I don't know, they're really impactful. Also, I'm running towards the sun and that really freaking hurts. It hurts my eyes, dude. I can't see shit. But it's been going really well. It's not this one then. Crane, that is the stupidest shit you've done. Okay, that's the one I pinged. I guess I'll stop here either way because that's where Olivia is, but let's go talk to her. I think if we talk to her though, we're gonna have to do a quest. The sky's like so bright. Not the sad stories. Yeah, we got hit with a lot of the sad stories. Somebody having a baby but lost their husband. The other one was a kid who just got manipulated. Oh, bye, Mochi. Oh, no. Okay, she did a U-turn. Oh. This is nearby. Okay. I'm just gonna wait till the next day, just so like a little save from that. I hope, but I think we'll end there. Nice little 4-hour stream. My back fucking hurts. Yeah, I don't want to end, but I know I need to get stuff done. I haven't edited. I don't know if I'll get to edit. I need to play. Okay, the dumb thing I do need to do is play fucking Marvel Rivals. Because I bought this stupid little pass and I need to finish the vending machine. But I gotta do that. I gotta edit. I have to watch a movie with my friends later. Because they want to watch Aristocrats. Because that's what we're dressing up as for Disney. And I'm very excited. That doesn't... Don't forget me. Enemy one may regret. Oh, I do love trans. If you're an orchestra. I think I'll just raid. I will just end stream today. Not raid out. I can't speak. See, I gotta learn how to edit. Do it. Just start editing random things. I slowly found a little bit of a style that I like. Unfortunately, I really like making like proper edits, and I don't know how to do those. But in my mind, I can see it. In my mind, I can see it, so I want to figure out how to do it. So I have an Outlast Trials one I'm gonna slowly work on. Try to fast work on, but I'm not gonna rush to get that out in a week, you know. But I like making silly little ones and the music. They're just fun. I just started doing them. Glitching and then just posting them and not worrying about numbers or anything. I kind of watch them and see it's just like, okay, so TikTok, you really do like the shorter ones and or the clips at the start that I'm putting are not catching you enough. So let's change up things. So I do learn from them, but I try not to stress about numbers because I'm like, I think it's funny. I like this. I send it to my friends. They like it. It's a win. Also, yes, dude, Doc. Her fucking accent, except, so I haven't watched X-Men 97 as a quick little thing before I leave. So there's something that happens to that, you know, I haven't seen it, doesn't happen. But she has a line that references that, if I can't feel you, and that is the most painful thing ever. I don't think about numbers, good. It's good to see numbers in a sense that I see it, I'm like, okay, this did really well. Why did it do it? What can I learn from that? Because sometimes I would do a lot of stuff. In the past, I would try to put out too much where I wasn't really editing it much. And then I was like, well, this didn't do good. And then I got sad and I stopped posting. But now I'm just like, I just want to make silly little things. I think they're funny. I still love my Arc Raiders one because I like the theme of like running and changing the images. And it's just one elongated run. But thank you all for today. I should be back with stream on Wednesday. I'll keep everybody updated since it is jury duty week. But I'll keep everybody updated. If anything changes, I'll let you know in the Discord. Arc Raiders is quite fun. I will say, it is quite fun. I do enjoy it. But other than that, please take care. We'll post pictures tomorrow for Disney. But yeah, that's it. I gotta figure out that fit. I gotta see if my stuff got delivered today, because I kind of need that for it. But other than that, I love you all. Let me get my song I opened up with today, because I really liked this song. Hi, Mochi. She just licked my foot. She's a freak. I'm gonna say bye from here. I love you all, but please have a good rest of your day. Sorry that it's a short stream today, but we'll make up with it. I'll make up it. Don't you worry. But I love you all. Please take care. Stay hydrated. Stay well, everybody. If you need anything, we do have our Discord. You can always post in there. And like I said, I'll keep you all updated if anything changes this week. So I love you all. Thank you for a short stream. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. And a goodbye to you all. Bye-bye.